Okay, greetings, friends. We're having a little late start today. We just had a beautiful meal, and the real reason is that we're coming in a little later than usual for some of our American cousins right across the pond there, stateside, back east. Of course, to me, it's back west. In fact, I looked up today the latitude. What is directly across the Atlantic Ocean from where I am? Anyone want to guess? Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach. Yeah, I think the beach is better here. I've never been to South Carolina, but I haven't heard the best things about Myrtle Beach in particular. I'm sure there's lots to do. I'm sure it's very nice. I'm sure it's a lot better than spending 1 minute in Tallahassee, especially if you're an Adelson. So today on the docket, what do we have? We have, by special request from our number one fan, Tamara, sorry, I just forgot her name. Tamara, what is her damn name? Demko, who may be some Japanese origin in there. Could Demko be a Japanese name? I've seen some pictures of. Hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to share with you guys some pictures of Tara because, personally, to my tastes, I know this isn't really what this video is about, but I find her way more attractive than Wendi Adelson. Everyone says, "Oh, Wendy's evil," but damn, she's good looking. I don't see it. She scrubs up well. She has expensive clothes, spends a lot of time on her hair. And yeah, okay, she's got naturally good hair that you can work with. But those eyes, those green blue eyes that everyone talks about, I find them windows to hell. They are disturbing. I was looking at a picture today that I put up on the tweet. Do we call it Twitter anymore, or do we have to call it X? I really liked the name Twitter. I don't like the name X, and I don't like Elon Musk. Anyway, back to the story. Tamara. Yeah, here she is. Oh, hang on. I need to find a mug for my coffee. Hot coffee. Oh, we need Roberta Glass on here to do her Donna Adelson impression. I'm not going to plagiarize her main theme, but hey Roberta, if you ever want to come on to this channel as a guest, I'm sure that's high on your list of priorities, right, Roberta? Yeah, I know you're watching. Come on, don't lie. Okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. Just give me a second here. I got no lights on. We need a mug and we need the coffee. The coffee. Hey, Donna. Hot coffee. Does anybody watch King of Queens? You know, with Doug and Carrie? Because I remember this episode where Carrie, who's from Queens and talks like she's from New York all the time, you know. She gets a high-profile job, and they want her to talk nicer, and she has to practice, but she can't lose her thick New York accent. I just imagined like Donna in the same situation. It gave me a chuckle. So anyway, what are we doing today? We are looking at Mentor Lawyer. Thank you, Mentor Lawyer, for providing the content. Not that you gave permission, but we have left a link to your channel in the description for this video. And by the way, I think it's a 6-part video series from Mentor Lawyer. They're all pretty short. This one's only 11 minutes 52. But the first episode I could find was episode 2. So I don't know if that's a mistake, or I don't know if Mentor Lawyer took something down or what. But instead of me talking while I'm doing this, I'm just going to press play, and I'll get back to you with some kind of introduction if that's required. You know, it might not be. Who knows? Let's see.
Became a hard line. They would call it, you're either Team Danny or Team Wendi. And they would actively refer to this.
People that are associated with all.
And Danny himself and Wendi herself. They would say Team Danny, Team Wendi. It was kind of unnerving, actually. And I was like, I don't want to pick a team. I've become friends with her, too. But he was a wreck. And she...
So straight away, I'm only half listening here because I'm trying to make my coffee. Oh, hi, Udi. Can I call you Udi? That's just so much easier for me, and I don't want to sound like an idiot because I can't read. How you doing? Nice to see you again. So yeah, straight away, this lady just seems really well adjusted. You know, she's saying that this couple, Dan Markel and Wendi Adelson, they're running around the place trying to divide their friends, going, "You're either Team Danny or Team Wendi, pick a side." And this one seems like she was the only person mature enough and forward thinking enough and not wanting to get into these high school games enough to say, "Look, what are you talking about? Pick a side. I've become friends with both of you." I mean, really what I think was going on is, I don't know if she and Professor Markel have history, you know, romantic history. I think they went to college together at some point, but I can't remember that offhand. But she clearly likes him on an intimate level, and I don't necessarily mean intimate like they were having sex, but you know, deeply is what I mean. Wasn't a casual friend. They were like family, really, really close, I think. And you can see that in how shocked and upset and genuine she is. So it's going to be a bit of a different spin tonight. We usually like to have a laugh and poke some fun, but this is a bit of a heart jerker for me, at least. You know, she's just really upset about her good friend, but she comes in with some real moonshiners for pointing the finger in the right place for Tallahassee PD, right? She's got some interactions with Wendi she's going to discuss, and with Harvey. That's really interesting. And, you know, just like Jeffrey Lacasse did, although this lady speaks a little slower, which is nice because Jeff Lacasse last night was making my head spin in a good way. Yeah, let's go. Oh.
Didn't want to live in Tallahassee. She hated being here. She was a you know, a more of a DC girl or Miami, and he started dating Amy, and we'd still go out, and he always, you know.
You know, maybe instead of sending Wendi Adelson to prison, we could just send her to live in Laughlin, Nevada, or Spokane up in Washington. You know, I'm sure she'd love that. That's a nicely connected. That's got the DC vibe, the Miami vibe, the NYC vibe, right? Yeah, sure.
You know, he'd be like flirting with her and talking to me, and then he'd try to tease her, and he'd turn around and he'd be like, "Hey, FaceTime," and he'd show me, you know, Amy on FaceTime. And Wendi was just...
Okay. So that shows that he was quite proud of his new girlfriend, and why wouldn't he be? She was very attractive. I'm talking about Amy now. very attractive, very accomplished law professor, a famous fashion designer brother. That's got to stick it, Wendi, huh? What does your brother do? He's just a dentist. Ooh, a periodontist, right? Okay. Wow. Did he design anything like that people wear on a catwalk? Because that's what he does. And they also spend a lot of weekends in the Hamptons, which is where they filmed Weekend at Bernie's. Remember the lighthouse scene?
Kind of absent. I don't know if she figured I became Team Danny in her mind, but she still would call me up just randomly and say, "Hey, can you guest lecture for me now?" And sure. She had gotten kind of flaky. And over time, I think Danny was able to tell people in a way that they started seeing that she was acting inconsistent. And so I think she felt that. Recently, they kept changing attorneys over and over and over again. And I'll at some point pull up a list because we had a conversation that's still on my Facebook messages about attorneys because I was looking for one. I have since worked things out with my ex, but just verbally. But at the time I was looking for one. So he was telling me who was good and who he had, but they were constantly switching. So he was blocking the attorneys that she had. She was blocking the attorneys that he had because there was some conflict of interest. And it was spiraling to the point where it was like, was there anyone that could represent either of them in town?
Okay, you mean post-divorce litigation?
Post-divorce litigation, even a couple months ago. So he took me out for my birthday last month. My birthday is June 3rd. He took me out June 4th. We went out for Thai food. And, he told me.
Sorry, I just got to leave a little comment on this dress that Donna's wearing. What on earth is going on there? Does anybody know the designer of that dress? I mean, again, like with the dress Wendi chose to wear to her son's bar mitzvah in a synagogue in front of a rabbi where she looks like she's going to work in a bordello as the lead girl in a bordello. And now Donna with this dress is like the madam, like she works in a whorehouse as the madam who makes sure that the girls don't get too roughed up. What is going on? Where are they going out that day? I mean, it must be something pretty grand, right? And plus she's in her 60s here. I mean, that's cool. If you're comfortable and happy with your body, that's great, but it's a bit much, don't you think? I mean, am I a total prude? Or, like, I can see both of her side boobs at once. That doesn't normally happen.
For Thai food. And, he told me that he was really infatuated with Amy and that, he's the only dad I've ever met who would go to his kids' preschool daily just to have snack with them. I mean, he loved them that much. But he was telling me that it was getting really ugly again and that he was going to kind of go to the mattresses with her. And there was a bunch of weird, there's just things that don't feel right to me. And that's why I'm really glad that you have me come in today. So after my birthday, we still talked on the phone, I believe, but I didn't physically see him afterward, I don't think. Wendi, I guess, lectured for after my birthday, so after that. And I talked to her, and she told me that she was dating someone. And I said, oh, and I thought it was new. It wasn't new. She'd been dating this guy since September. Social worker. He was a professor in social work at FSU. And she was all excited about him and, he wants to get serious and she's not sure, but she really likes him and everything's good, and maybe we should double date sometime, because I had started dating someone in the interim. So, Danny and I were both talking about the current people we're dating, like, oh, we'll see how it works out. But he wanted to get a movie afterwards. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. I'll do it next time. Just remember next time. So he had started consulting, and I didn't know much about what he was doing. He was kind of excited about it. I knew he wasn't the lead. And I don't think he felt it was dangerous. When I found out, and I guess this is going backwards so I can understand my thought process on it too, because it's more instinctive right now and that's bothering me.
Okay, disclaimer. I think Ruth Markel is great, and not just out of sympathy for the horrible trauma she's had to go through with all of this, but she just looks like she looks like she could make a fantastic chicken soup, a really good one, and the secret ingredient would be love, But can you imagine what the Adelsons thought of her? Because they're all just skin deep, surface level, right? So they look at the appearance. She's overweight. She's kind of a little bit scruffy. She's not got the hairstyle that's contemporary and fast-paced Miami, man. It's just like they must have been like, okay, what is this? Is this the person that this is a grandmother and I'm a grandmother to the same kid? So I have to share my grandchildren with this woman equally? Well, we'll have to kill Professor Markel.
I found out, I was at work at Text Watch when this happened. I had no idea it happened. It pains me that I was like down the road when this happened. I found it because a law school classmate sent me an email and said, I just saw, oh my God, are you okay? Because my entire class knows that we're close. They knew we were close. And that's how I found out. And I was not doing well with it. And I got upset for the first hour. I called John Beeman and said, what the hell happened? He couldn't tell me much, but there was this suggestion that maybe it was a known entity.
Who was that?
And said, what the hell happened? Upset for the first hour. I called John Beeman and said,
John Beeman. Does anybody know who that is? Let us know in the comments if you know who that is, guys. John Beeman.
What the hell happened? He couldn't tell me much, but there was this suggestion that maybe it was a known entity. And before we even got to him saying that, I was thinking about the relationship with Wendi, and it just didn't feel good. Did not feel good. And got off the phone with him, and I found Amy's number, and I talked to Amy.
You see, that awful, stupid dress that Wendi loves to wear, twice in court and at least one time that we know of at some kind of, she was giving a lecture of some kind, a boring lecture. There's no side boob going on. There's no massive cleavage like when she was at her son's bar mitzvah in the synagogue in front of the rabbi and all her son's early teenager friends who get a hard on every 10 minutes. So, come on, Wendi. And what are you smiling about in court, you sick individual?
I found Amy's number, and I talked to Amy for a long time, and talked to his other friends, Maya and Alex, and
Oh, that's Amy.
And then I felt like, and so Amy said to me, if someone intentionally killed Danny, if I go down there, what if they try to hurt me? Because she was feeling like something was off too. And I said, well, I have a concealed carry. You know, I'll take it with me. Just come. You can stay at my place. I'll pick you up. So that.
Wow. Imagine that. Like, I don't know how many of you all that are watching own guns, but you know, as I am a European, we don't have a lot of guns here. You know, different deal, and it's just I'm looking at these two women. So the one on the right is Amy, the girlfriend of Dan Markel, who's up in New York with a fashion designer brother, and she's worried to come down to Miami because if someone hurt Dan intentionally because they were angry at their relationship, Dan's relationship with Amy, what if they came after her? And then Tamara over here says, well, look, I've got a gun, so I'll bring it. And you know, you're not going to bring it unless you're prepared to use it. So you just pull out your gun and I mean, I guess you warn first, but you know, you may have to shoot someone. That's just such a crazy idea to me. But I'm not an American, you know. But I've seen one on TV.
Got the phone with her and I realized I didn't have my clip. I haven't found my clip for like 2 months. I have no idea where it went. So I went to Kevin's and it was like I have like a cheap Kel-Tec 9 and like a knob. I only got it after the other stuff. So I went to Kevin's. They didn't have those clips. They're going to order them for me. But I ended up buying one yesterday. I bought a 40 yesterday. And I went and just I'm like, okay, I get the hub for tomorrow in case she needs protection or whatever. And at that point, I couldn't help myself. I'm like, I have noon. And I drove straight to Wendy's. At that point, I couldn't help myself. I'm like, I have noon. And I drove straight to Wendy's.
Wow.
And when I got there, it didn't make me feel better. And I hate saying it, but I do because I feel disloyal somehow. But I got there, she had her friend Janine, who I hadn't really heard about before, and Janine's husband, I guess. I can't remember his name.
Is it Janine or Jane? Is it Jane from, you know, Jeffrey Lacasse, very jealous? I'd be looking into Jeffrey Lacasse. Or is there another person called Janine that I can't remember?
Something short and interesting. But she opened the door and she looked fairly calm. And she hugged me. I didn't say a word. And she just said, I'm so sorry to me because she knows how close we were. And then it was odd because it felt like Janine was playing bodyguard and being very and like, who is this Janine person? Her mom came out. I hugged her mom. The boys were running around like nothing was going wrong. And I was so glad.
Yeah, did she even tell the boys yet? You know, they've not been because of course Wendy's had to put on this pretend happy face for the boys' sake. You know, sick individual.
Had to see them. Like I wanted to be near some part of Danny. And I asked the mom, like, how did you find out? She said, we're in Miami. Wendi called from the police station. We drove all night. And she seemed appropriately like upset. Then her dad, who I've met half a dozen times, Coral Springs, up here.
I swear to God, man, Harvey Adelson, throughout his life, every single photograph of the man, of this guy, of this criminal, is the same. It's like a cardboard cutout, right? Same expression, same angle of the head, same shoulder poise, everything. It's like someone's cut out a big cardboard thing of Harvey Adelson and they carry it with them under their arm, like with him sideways. He
gave me this look, and I don't know what my facial reaction was to it, but I'm almost positive it was one of suspicion and anger, because he can't even look me in the face today. And it was awkward, and it never had been before. That really bothered me.
Is it common for him to look you in the face? I mean, some people
yeah.
just don't do it.
No, not like an Asperger's kid. No, he was, yeah, absolutely. At least when someone's talking, generally you're listening.
It's funny, she just said not like an Asperger's kid. I'm Asperger's. What is she trying to say? I can look people in the eye, not a worry. I'm high functioning though, so maybe she's talking about something else. Those poor guys that bang their head on the wall or something, I'm not like that. Where were we? Enough about me.
Listening, looking. No, it was odd.
He recognized you. It
Of
wasn't a
course,
question
he's
of
like,
that.
TJ, hey. Yeah.
But he would not look you in the eye.
He started off fine. And then when we locked eyes, it was like something transpired that didn't sit well with either one of us, I guess. And then today he would not even look at me.
I'm sorry if I'm stopping too much, guys. If you want me to talk less, let me know in the comments. I don't want to keep interrupting if people don't like it. But there's 3 Adelsons, right, in this situation that Tamara is describing for us. And Wendi, I don't think she really knows what game she's playing. She answers the door, gives this woman a hug, apologizes to her for her loss, and then it's got Janine, the bodyguard, like chaperoning her, keeping an eye on things. The boys are keeping Wendi busy. That's like her adapter, like people take out their phone when they're nervous. Wendy's got her kids as her adapter, yeah? Oh, I got to get the boys. Ben and Lincoln. And then Donna's a well-practiced con artist, basically. I was going to say actor, but that sounds too friendly a role. But then Harvey was taken off guard. I think because Harvey might have a little bit of human in him, not like Donna, not like Wendi. But Harvey, maybe he could see that Tamara knew or felt something just by the way she came round unannounced, stayed silent. A vibe. And he caught him off guard, clearly. He didn't know what to do with it.
I found that to be very unsettling.
And this would be Wendy's father.
Yes.
Harvey?
Mm-hmm. Harvey. Charlie was supposed to come up, her younger brother, but he didn't. That was also strange because she was positive he was coming and then he wasn't. I drove then to his house, to Danny's house, and sat outside.
About that, I think it probably was the plan for Charlie to come up. But when Jeffrey Lacasse was not in cuffs at the end of the day, when Jim Geiger, the neighbor, called it in, got the ambulance there early, and all these wrenches went into the works, right? Not really, but stuff happened that was outside of the scope of the Adelson's plot, that threw questions. So if Lacasse was in cuffs, it would be like, okay, they've got their man and they're not looking at anyone else. But I think Charlie didn't come up because, stay away from Tallahassee. I mean, I know that they could call the cops in Miami-Dade or Fort Lauderdale or wherever, Coral Springs, but, just keep a little bit of distance. And also, Tallahassee smells bad.
From Wendy's?
From Wendy's.
And this was yesterday?
This was yesterday.
Okay.
And just sat there and prayed and said, from here, nothing looks different. It looks like he'll be home any moment. and then went to church and prayed for an hour, ran into my priest, talked to him for another hour, and I haven't slept since. So
So she's Catholic.
I didn't know where he had been shot until this morning. That was extremely hard to hear.
Who told you?
Maya.
What'd she tell you?
She said that he was shot in the face and that the only thing visible was his chin and that his brain was mostly gone. And then there were all sorts of rumors swirling.
But that's not true. I mean, I don't know where that's coming from. That's not completely accurate.
Okay.
I'm sorry to have to, I mean.
No, just.
But I don't know. I can't correct that. What?
Well, Isom, say something for God's sake. Is he? I swear to God, he's a little bit slow, right? He says no, it's not true, and then takes like, I don't know, a week to get the rest of the sentence out. This woman is in trauma, genuine trauma. Not, if it was Wendi sat here, he'd be all like, "Oh, I know you didn't do it." Honest to God, I'm glad he's retired. I'm sorry to jump on Isom, but I think we're all a little bit annoyed at him, right?
Has been already told to you specifically, but unfortunately, these things get all blown out of proportion.
Yeah. Let me continue talking.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like
I'm
we're
sorry.
done. Like
I'm
you
sorry.
can tell me what you're able to tell me,
Go ahead.
and I would love to hear it.
Oh, hey, that was the end of part one, but not our part one. Mentor Lawyers part one. We're going on for more, but first, let's have a look at some comments. Hey, Rabbit, how you doing? Good to see you. Where are we here? I think Amy Adler, being as successful and accomplished and beautiful as she was, may have been yet another thing that drove Wendi over the edge. Absolutely. Like I said, she's not going to be sitting in Miami in an apartment block, going to Whole Foods and the gym and some lecture while Dan is up in the Hamptons. Charlie loves his jet skis, doesn't he? How'd you like to take them out into Hampton Island? Dang, need to. Okay. John Beeman. There is a John Beeman listed as an officer in the Tallahassee Police Department. Thank you, Rabbit. God. Thank God you've got a bionic knee. Because you know all the facts. We love your contributions, Rabbit. There was. Oh, I should be putting these up on the screen. There was real fear in Tallahassee due to this violent shooting. Real fear. Yeah, I bet, especially in northeast Tallahassee. I bet home securities got beefed up, buy shares in padlock companies because they're selling off. They're flying off the shelves, these padlocks, okay? We're raising the price. Corner of the market, raise the price. Janine Jane McPherson. I too haven't understood if Janine was another person not mentioned otherwise. Yeah, I think, Tamara didn't know her, so maybe she just got the name crossed. Tamara Demko was on high alert emotionally that she was further perceptive to Harvey's vibe and his behavior. Oh, okay. Let me read that again. Tamara Demko was so on high alert emotionally that she was further perceptive to Harvey's vibe and his behavior. Yeah, well, the whole thing, right? I mean, that's why she went over there. And I think that's what Harvey picked up on. And, he didn't know how to deal with it, so he shied away. Charlie didn't come up because Dan Markel was still alive, and Charlie stayed behind to only pay for the hit when Markel's death was confirmed. The Adelsons wouldn't get ripped off a second time. Wow. God, that really is... what a thing to do, huh? Can you imagine just... Well, I'm not paying until we get confirmation that he's dead. Terrible. Poor Tamara had been told a horrific exaggeration of the injury her friend sustained. Yeah, I was thinking that just now. Isn't that just a sad fact of human behavior that we're probably all guilty of it to some extent. Obviously, not many of us have an event like this happen so closely in our lives. But yeah, she was like, yeah, no, the bullet went into his face, and the only thing that was left was his chin, and his brain was just blown to pieces. I don't think that was true at all. He was, Jim Geiger looked into the window and didn't know what had happened. So I'm assuming he still had a head. Oh, I feel bad for laughing at that, but what can you do? When it's said Amy Adler went to the Hamptons, it's actually far more exclusive. He has a house on Shelter Island. That's huge money. Wow, really? That is... I'll have to look that up. I haven't heard of Shelter Island. Obama lives in the Hamptons. Shelter Island is for the wealthy folk. Okay, so it's like the West Palm of New York or something, right? I bet Epstein was up there all day long. Obsessive alcoholics. Welcome to the chat, obsessive alcoholics. Wendi probably wears a D-size bra cup, but I bet they are really saggy, judging how they look in the red dress. Good point. Good point. Yeah, I could concur that from personal experience. I won't get into the details, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, and I don't think she was wearing a bra at all. I think they were just sort of glued on to her upper chest in that bar mitzvah. Am I being ignorant? Am I saying it wrong? Is it bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah? Or is one for a girl and one is for a boy? I'm not, there's not as many Jews over here as you have, especially in New York, right? But all the states, there's a lot of Jews. Anyway, we are going on to episode 3 of Mentor Lawyers coverage on... Where is part 3? Is this it? Yeah, you guys don't have to watch ads on my videos yet, but I have ads, so you have to watch mine. And anyway, let's get on with it, guys, or get into it. That's what everybody says. Let's get into it.
But it became a hard line. They would call it, you're either Team Danny or Team Wendi. And they would actively refer to this. Danny
People that are associated with all.
And Danny himself and Wendi herself. They would say Team Danny and Team Wendi. It was kind of unnerving, actually. And I was like, I don't want to pick a team. I've become friends with her, too. I don't think that any one of them...
About becoming friends with Wendi? I don't think so. And not through any fault of Tamara, but I don't think it's very possible to make friends with Wendi. Wendi doesn't have friends, she has people. And I think Tamara, just a nice person that she seems clearly to be, was good friends, very deep good friends with Professor Markel, and just wanted to be mature and support him in whoever he chose as a wife. And then when they got divorced, not get dragged into some high school drama about Team Danny, Team Wendi, and all that. And as far as I'm concerned, and maybe I'm painting Professor Markel with a rose-tinted brush here or something, but if he was saying that, I would say he would be at least half joking, like, "Oh, you're Team Danny or Team Wendi," you know. I don't think he would really care. Obviously, Wendi did.
Physically pull the trigger. I think it is extremely odd that Janine all of a sudden is tagging on. I found it extremely odd that Wendy's boyfriend that she was so excited about a few weeks ago was not there. When I was leaving, I said, well, where's your new guy? Shouldn't he be here to comfort you? And she's like, there's no new guy. And I was like, that's interesting timing. There's just a lot of interesting timings that don't feel right here. And and Wendy's gone through a lot. She's gone through a lot with this. So it could just be that she's grieving, and I hope that that's the case. But I wouldn't put it past her father or even her brother to do something that she might not even be aware of.
You talking about this Charlie?
Charlie, maybe. Charlie really cares about her and hated Danny for stuff. But her dad, I mean, there was a lot of animosity. I don't know whether she told them that he had been abusive or what. I don't know. But I hope that's not the case. I just, everything I've heard does not feel random at all to me. And it feels incredibly intentional based on based on talking to Amy. She talked to him the night before, and he usually sleeps in bed with the kids. And there were nights when I would go over and we'd sing lullabies to the kids to put them to sleep. And he dropped them off at Creative, and Amy figured he was coming or going from the gym because that was the routine. But it sounds like someone knew the routine.
Going from the creative preschool to the gym to home?
I don't know which order that was. I don't know.
He had the kids the night before?
He had the kids the night before, according to Amy.
Okay.
And the last time they texted was something like 12:30. One of them said that they were going to be, tired going to sleep. I think she said she was tired, she was going to sleep. And they didn't, they didn't talk that morning. Okay. And then she couldn't get a hold of him for the rest of the day, obviously. He was finally feeling happy again. He was feeling hopeful. Things with his kids were great. Wendi was this huge elephant in his life room. I mean, it was consuming. Not that he was obsessed about it, it just he wanted it to end. And it just seemed like it was never going to end. The latest claim was that she had concealed $500,000 in assets on top of having the family.
$500,000 in assets. Look at that. Yeah, and I'm keeping the jewelry, including your dead grandmother's Holocaust diamond that she smuggled out of Auschwitz. You ever see Pulp Fiction, where they tell you how Bruce Willis's dad got this gold watch out of the POW camp in Vietnam? Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about.
Like heirloom and other things that he felt were unreasonable. And he had claimed to Maya and to Alex, apparently, that there was something that big that he was going to drop a bomb on her in the next week. A legal bomb that would discredit her statements, particularly with regard to financial matters. Again, the timing of all of it doesn't sit well with me. I have been trying to gauge Wendi's family's reactions to things because I've been around them, and even when she first left him, I mean, I went over to her house. Her parents were staying there. I had a drink with her mom. Like I've seen them and how they react to things, and something feels off. And it could just be, I hope it is, because I don't want Ben and Lincoln to grow up with, really orphaned. And if it does have to do with that family, I hope Wendi had nothing to do with it and is triply devastated that something was related. But I don't know. I don't know about the consulting. Maybe there was some risk, but my understanding was that he was not lead, which shouldn't have made him a target like that. It was fairly recent, and it seems like it would take some time for someone to establish his patterns. It just seems known. The outpouring of messages I've gotten from his students, from my classmates, from my friends, is all past and present. He was a great criminal professor. Students liked him. I don't think it was some strung out student who didn't like their grade. That doesn't feel right to me either. If it was some weird tangential thing related to consulting, I suppose that's from the possibility, but that still doesn't feel quite right. It just feels very personal. It feels very personal. And I want to give benefit of the doubt, but on some gut level, I have this anger that's there. And he didn't deserve this. But no, there was never.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about her genuine anger emotions as well. You can see that coming out. She is really angry and upset, and she knows. I mean, she wants to come into the police station screaming, "I know who did it." If she did that, she probably wouldn't have much credibility. And remember when Wendi was saying about a friend who took in Wendi's interview now, she was saying about a friend who really took Dan's side after the divorce. And, I think she's talking about Tamara, because I think she'd identified that Tamara was a risky, element to this whole thing, because she's smart, smart emotionally, smart mentally. And, if she said, "Oh, yeah, well, she took Dan's side after the divorce," you know what I mean? It kind of it calls into question any credibility she might have if she came to law enforcement with information, right? You with me?
It wasn't just that she was treating him poorly, like in a typical situation. There's strangeness about it, either because she was changing stories or she was being incredibly evasive, and it really bothered him. But I tried to not let it bother my friendship with her and tried to keep them separated, which is not many of the friends did that. People were like Team Danny or Team Wendi. I tried to straddle both. I was probably the only person who was able to straddle both. And it would break my heart, which is actually already broken, so I guess I can't fall too much further. He was going to give a presentation at Rutgers. He was supposed to fly in last night to New York, so they're having a memorial for him there. And I'm so full of memories. I'm just in utter disbelief. I'm almost positive at some point we discussed him having a will. I don't know when in this time frame it was at all. But I feel like he has one. No idea where. He was willing to pacify Wendi for a long time. He wanted to get back together with her. He offered, I'll change, we'll get back together, and the important things of the family. She wouldn't have it. And so every time it was the type of thing where if he was going to have an extended period of time away, he would give her right of first refusal. She never returned the favor. If it was only for a little night, and she's like, okay, well, and she would generally not accept. But she absolutely would never return the favor, even if it meant people coming from South Florida to come and watch the kids. That really bothered him. But the dance that they did was very painful.
Okay, we've got some major speculation going on the Wendi Adelson dress. Maybe we should set up a whole new feature series about this dress, because I think there's a lot to talk about and unpack, right? And I know what you're thinking, that we're going to unpack. Well, not on this show. But no. Yeah, what were her motives? You know, I'm assuming she dresses herself and doesn't have a royal valet to dress her, but supposedly, presumably, she chose that dress herself, right, for this occasion. Probably bought it especially for this occasion. You know, it's a pretty big deal, even for these closet anti-Semitic, possibly Jews, the Adelsons, who never miss a chance to well, what is the word? I'm trying not to swear, and I think I've lost most of my vocabulary. They never miss a chance to shit on the local Jew stuff, as Wendi calls it, right? They're just totally not into it and actively against it. It's not like they're just removed. They hate it all. So is that it? Is she disrespecting the ceremony? I mean, what is the motive for choosing that dress? She's not doing it for her son. I'm sure his son was embarrassed. I'm sure all his mates loved it, and now they're telling him his mom's really fit and like what they wanted, you know, all that stuff that young boys say. And so she did not want it to be on television, guarantee you that, and it's quickly been taken down. God, I wonder who uploaded it, because it must have been someone who was in attendance to the oh, hang on, let me go back to Rabbit's bar mitzvah. Bar mitzvah is for boys and bat mitzvah is for girls. You see, I didn't even know there was one for girls. I thought it was just a boy thing. But yeah, really interesting. What do you think her motives were? Rabbit, what have you got to say? Oh, no. Obsessive Alcoholic says, Lincoln seems to be pulling away from his mother not because he hates her, but because he doesn't want to wind up motorboating his mother's breasts. Yeah, him and all his friends could jump on those. Rabbit says, to begin, it's beyond shocking to wear a non-neutral color to synagogue, as you are not supposed to create attention to yourself, but red, yeah, I believe that. I do know one fact of the tradition of Jewish ceremonial procedure, and that is at a, what do they call a wake? Like after a funeral? They've got a special name for it. But at the wake after the funeral, at someone's house, they will cover all the mirrors in the house. They will put a sheet over every mirror in the house because they don't want to be concerned with how they look grief-stricken. Yeah? So it's I find it really interesting, these Jewish traditions, I suppose, but it's more than traditions. It's an actual way of thinking. You know, I think, I'm not pro-Jew or anti-Jew or anything of the other. I just like to learn about why things are the way they are. And it seems Judaism has a lot of philosophy about it, more so than Christianity in a lot of ways. I think it's a very thinking religion. They really process these external aspects of our lives, and pretty much it's expected to adhere to them if you're a practicing Jew. Shiva, yeah, Shiva. Sitting Shiva, yeah, I remember the name now. Thank you, Rabbit. God, you should go on a quiz show with the pick an Adelson as your team member. How's your spelling, Rabbit? Where they cover the mirrors in the home. Okay, yeah, cool, good. We're expanding the knowledge, guys. Share that knowledge. Like, share, leave a comment. All right, back to the video.
Painful to everyone around them because it was just nasty. And even on days when she had them, he would go to the preschool just so he could see them and spend time with them. He referred to himself as Abba in Jewish tradition, and he really wanted them to be raised Orthodox. And this was a huge...
I looked up how to spell Abba the other day, and it's A-B-B-A, like the band. And then I was thinking, oh my God, are the band, ABBA from Sweden, did they name the band after father in Hebrew? But no, it's their names, isn't it? It's the letters of their names. Björn something, Björn Anderson or something, and everyone is B and A. Anyway, next.
Huge bone contention between the two of them. They agreed on it when they got married. And then over time, she made it fairly clear that she was not into that. So for the first year after the kids were born...
Yeah, after time? What, you mean like at the wedding when they brought kosher style food and Dan Markel's own rabbi who had come to, what do you call it, officiate the marriage, had to leave the wedding? Yeah, that was made pretty clear that they weren't into it.
First year or two, they did the ritual, they sang songs, they were teaching them the songs, everything seemed good. And then she just didn't want to go to temple with him and sort of declined. And then they were actively fighting post-divorce as to what the upbringing would be. And she didn't want them growing up in some kind of Orthodox way. Absolutely not. And she knew that that's...
Yeah, can you imagine that with the boys at, well, I guess it's after the bar mitzvah, right? Because then they get the ringlets and the hats and the little skull caps, and the Adelsons wouldn't like that. That wouldn't fit into the Icon building down in South Beach, would it now?
That was his heart. So there was never going to be peace about that. Everyone knows, and I've heard people...
And just a note to everyone out there who hasn't had any kids yet, these sorts of things like agreeing whether or not to raise your children in a religious upbringing, if that's really important to one person, like the father, and it's not only not important, but it's important that the children not be brought up in that way, that's the sort of things you need to discuss and clarify before you get pregnant. You know, that you're just gonna have a recipe for disaster if you fail to do that. So please, these poor kids. Number one, they don't have a dad. Number two, and surely this is not like some scumbag dad who beat them. Even that would be sad. He was a really good dad, a very knowledgeable, intelligent person, high achiever, basically achieved whatever he put his mind to. He made up his mind to go to Harvard at like 12 years old. And, he understood that it wasn't just about your grades. Good grades wasn't enough to go to Harvard. You had to show a lot of initiative, extracurricular activities. He was in charge. He was chief editor of the school newspaper and things like that. So he found out what you need to do and he did it. That's called playing the game, climbing the ladder, doing it the right way, and that was his drive. Achievement, not cheating like the Adelsons. Disgusting people, all of them, apart from Rob. And I hope we get to see Rob in Donna's trial. I think we may well do. I think finally we're going to get to see Rob talk, because I know that there's a little bit of footage and information out there about him, but he's been so out of this, and can anyone blame him? But he's another casualty of this collective narcissism.
In town write me when I haven't even commented to them, saying, I just heard this is domestic. Have you heard anything? And I'm like, I'm not discussing this. But
I tell you, I wouldn't want to mess with Tara, man. She's got power, and not just because she's got a concealed carry. But that
Wendi has all clear. She can move wherever she wants, all that kind of stuff. I don't think she would hurt her children that way. I want to believe that. I could see her getting overwhelmed enough with the situation to complain to someone who would want to make it go away.
How are you doing tonight?
And I also feel it's weird that her social worker boyfriend, poof, so suddenly after just bragging about him so recently.
When was that? When was the latest time that she was talking about him?
Okay, let me figure out when I guest lectured. I had dinner with Danny on the 4th. I guest lectured on June 17th.
That's the one that you wanted to refer to later, that you were asking me to remind you about?
Yes, so she was bragging about him. She really liked him, and she sent me messages. My messages are going so far back at this point. Let me pull it up.
When you're guest lecturing, she's not there.
We talked before.
Okay.
There's Danny's message. Sorry, it's not here on the 17th. There it is.
Well, this is you. What time is the class in the morning? And then after that, you said 10 to 12:30 or earlier. The blue is you.
Yes, the blue is me.
Okay. And then June 17th at 8:50 a.m., 10, please. I have to run today after class, but can we set up a date so I can thank you and take you to lunch, please? You said, sounds good. This is all referring to the class that day. sometime after the class at 1:47. She says, "You are brilliant and beautiful and amazing. Many thanks for teaching class today." And then you said, "Let's do a double date." I'm sorry, she said,
She said, "Let's do a double
sorry.
date."
Yeah.
Okay, so she said, "Let's do a double." I didn't respond to that because that felt weird to me.
Right.
Um,
But she's referring to the
she's
social
referring to the
worker.
social worker boyfriend.
Do you know his name?
They were Facebook friends. I don't know if they still are. She had his picture up. They've been dating since September, she told me. Dan knew about him. He mentioned him to me when we went to dinner the week before, or a couple weeks before. And his take was kind of like, well, if she's happy, why isn't she just, getting on with her life? He apparently went poop shortly thereafter. That's less than a month. I guess my question to that would be, he's a social worker. If he wasn't inclined to do something on her behalf, did he just find her to be getting too out of control to be with her? I don't know. Unless it was her decision.
Did she say he was a
professor of social work?
Professor. Okay, so
he's licensed.
FSU or?
Yes, FSU.
By the way, I don't think Jeffrey Lacasse got back from Tennessee until the 21st of July. So this interview with Tamara is the 19th. So Isom, well, I guess he may have spoken to Jeff on the phone, but they've not met in person yet. So there's still question marks around him, probably, in Isom's eyes, General Isom.
College of social work professor. He looked a little bit like Danny, I suppose, looked when he was younger.
Okay. You met him?
I did not meet him.
You saw his picture?
I saw his picture. Mm-hmm. And
is this the only guy in her life?
So, good question. When Danny and I were at Thai food that night for my birthday, Ken Lawson, who's the secretary of DDPR, he happened to be there and he said hello, and Dan said hello.
Okay, big welcome to Muse Studio. Make sure you've subscribed to the channel, Muse. We've got loads of content coming out, and Muse says, Wendi admitted that she wears colored contacts. But then Obsessive Alcoholic says, Muse Studio, that's her real eye color. I don't think you're right, Obsessive. She admitted to Isom, General Isom. General Isom said, do you wear contacts? And, referring to eye color when she was talking about the clerk in the liquor store where she bought the bullet bourbon, and he said, oh, your eyes are really blue. And Isom said to Wendi, as she was recounting that story, do you wear contacts? And she goes, I do. And I also speak Spanish. We had paella, and it was mucho bueno.
And I'm fairly certain that Ken and Wendi dated right around the divorce or around the time she left or something around there. But that was just in passing. She's been very close to the vest. And I didn't know she was dating anyone. I mean, I heard from Danny, but then I didn't know from her that was the case. And I don't think he knew from her. I think he knew from other people telling him. So that was kind of odd. And even if they had just broken up and things were good, like.
Anybody think Katie is missing the beach? Look, she's got a nice little, what is that, a pina colada, a mojito or something down on the beach. And Wendi with this not good hair day going on. Look at Katie's hair. That's all nice. And Yindra Mascaro Velasquez. Or is it Velasquez Mascaro? What a cool name. Yindra Velasquez Mascaro. Wow. Sounds like a James Bond villain or something.
I would still be over helping to comfort her yesterday. You know, that's a big deal, especially with a social work background. I'm like, Janine, according to her husband, I guess, he wasn't there, but Janine was with Wendi when she found him. Janine's like, I went to the police station with her, but it felt very, I was like, is she an attorney? Is she representing her? It felt very guarded, very, very guarded. Like you were like her personal bodyguard now, and almost like guarded with the children around me. And I'm like, that's really weird. You know, Wendy's mom seemed fine. Anyone else, I can't say.
You don't suspect anything suspicious about her mom.
Not so much, no.
But her dad, you're feeling some vibes because of him not wanting to look you in the eye yesterday.
And then today not wanting to look me at all. No.
Did he acknowledge you at all today?
No, he didn't. Not at all.
Does anybody know if Tamara attended any of the trials? Because this is the day after he was shot. This is 10 years ago. You know, does anybody know if there's been anything public, a video, an interview, a press article from Tamara since? You know? I just feel like all these people should have like an annual conference where we can all ask questions. Maybe we should set that up. Let me know what you think about that in the comments, guys. Like, share, leave a comment, subscribe.
And he and his son had a dental practice. He was well respected in the community down in South Florida, which has a lot of resources. And I'm sure that if anything were to take place, they would be extremely smart about it. But I got a vibe from him like, I know you suspect me, and I'm done.
Okay.
I don't know.
You said that woman that was over there was Janine?
Janine? Mm-hmm.
You know her last name or anything?
Nope. Supposedly she was with Wendi when Wendi was being interrogated. Or at the police station with Wendi at the time she was being questioned.
Okay.
And then Janine's husband. But she was protective in a way that felt a little overprotective.
That was the first time you met her?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Never heard of her before?
mm-mm.
What do you know about her two brothers? I know there's two brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard about this Charlie, and he's a periodontist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He worked with her dad, and that's in South Florida. And then her older brother, whose name is escaping me right now, I believe was in New York, doctor married to an Indian descent woman named Harutha. And protective of her, but very kind of separated and involved with his own life and his family. Charlie was the one who was closer.
Charlie's older than her as well?
Charlie's the younger one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, no.
Okay, in this picture, I can say Wendi looks kind of attractive. Better. But still a psycho. I can just tell. I would run a mile from this woman. Charlie looks good in this picture too. This is probably the best picture of Charlie, but that is a $400 shirt he's wearing. I can guarantee you that. And that jacket, is that an Armani? I mean, that's a tidy attire, man. What did you spend, like a year on your hair?
I guess Wendi is the youngest. It's just that Charlie's younger than I am too. Okay. So, but I was down there in their house. I was trying to help her learn how to breastfeed with Danny there and brother. And I when they split up, I went down and met with Wendi and went out with Wendi and Charlie and his friends. It's mind-blowing, but the legal situation was getting to another point where it was blowing up.
He somehow found out that she withheld financial disclosure
Yes,
and was going to use that
yes.
for what purpose?
It was to discredit her and have things adjusted, I believe, including getting back his heirloom.
Okay, he told you this.
Yes.
Okay, and he told you the figure of
$500,000 is what he
Danny
said.
told you that directly.
Yes.
So in other words, when they were going through their divorce proceedings, and they each had to file disclosure statements,
Correct.
she shorted it by $500,000.
He said she fraudulently did it, yes.
And he didn't bring it up then, or he didn't know about it.
Okay, Rabbit. Yeah. Katie and Wendi are both the same vicious, self-centered, murderous females. They are Jezebels. Definitely, I'd I'd put Wendi as a Jezebel. If anybody doesn't know, wicked, shameless, licentious, just a woman without conscience. The ends justify the means. Total manipulation. I just don't think. I just think Katie was an idiot. I think she really kind of gets it now, and not just because she's been in prison for 8 years. I think that time possibly has given her the time to reflect, and I think she regrets the choices she made and is ashamed by them, not just because she's caught, but because of the situation. I think she's ashamed. I'm not saying that that's enough, but if anyone out of this story gets any kind of deal for early release, would there be any member of this party that would deserve it more than Katie? I don't think so. I think Katie is the least evil person. You got Sigfredo and Luis who are just like, they're just gangsters, basically street thugs. They've done all sorts of things, a lot of violence and whatever, and robberies, and they're not good people, are they? They're probably okay to their family, and then the Adelsons are totally just all from hell. And Katie, I really think if Katie got a deal and it was like, okay, Katie, we're gonna let you out in another 10 years, but you are on an ankle monitor constantly for the rest of your life. If you go more than 100 yards from your front door, you're going straight to jail. You go to work, you go to the store, you look after your kids, that's it. And you contribute to society. And by the way, 40% of your paycheck for the rest of your life goes straight to the commission of the Dan Markel statue, 30 feet high, made of steel, in Florida State University, in the main courtyard, head of Wendi Adelson in the other by their hair. That's where your money's going, Katie. The statue of Professor Markel.
He didn't know about it then.
But he's discovered it since.
Yes.
And so.
And he talked about it even before we went to dinner on my birthday.
Did he talk about it to anybody else that you know of?
I'm sure he talked about it to Alex and Maya.
Sorry to stop the stream so much, guys, but Rabbit just makes great comments. Metrics, sounds like you can describe Jezebel like you've met a few yourself. Yeah, try every woman I've ever dated. I was looking around my place the other day, and I realized that all of the ashtrays I have are from past relationships, like were given to me by girlfriends, past girlfriends. So they're sort of like monuments to my relationships, ashtrays. What does that say about you know, what does that say about me as a person and my relationships? But yeah, a few Jezebels in there for sure. Oh, don't buy what Katie is selling. She made Sigfredo kill to get back with her. It was Katie who sold Sigfredo. The murder must happen. Yeah, I agree. I agree. But I just think she thought she was in a TV game, like or a computer game. I mean, like it wasn't really real. I'm not excusing anything. I think she's right where she belongs. Believe me. But if anyone gets a deal, what are we? Luis Rivera's already got the deal of the century. You know, he did well. He did really well. You're serving a 12-year sentence already, and you just have to do another 7 for murder, and you'll get game time on that for good behavior, and no probation or extended supervision. You're just free. You know, he will go back to crime. This is just the cost of doing business for him, like Christopher DeCoste says in Katie's trial.
Now, he also talks about stuff, I'm sure, to his parents, because when I met Ruth, Ruth was trying to talk to Donna Adelson, Wendy's mom, and saying like, "Oh, I really like to see the boys," and like Donna just kept walking away.
Who was saying that?
Ruth.
Right.
Said to Wendy's mom, Donna. Today at the service, "I'd really like to see the boys," and Donna kept walking away with the boys. And Ruth turned to me and she said, "I hope what I just saw didn't actually happen." Like, she just got ignored.
Oh.
And she said that, she's like, "Well, I guess that's not going to happen, but you know the story." So obviously, I infer that Dan had been talking to her and the family about these problems.
Danny's a jealous guy, Jeff's a jealous guy.
All right.
That as a social worker, I
Okay.
would be.
Well, let me ask you this. If Jeff is the new guy, why would he do it?
Just because he's, this is something I wouldn't say in front of Wendy.
Okay.
I thought you said something I wouldn't say. I'm like, I'm right here.
Oh, isn't it sickening? Like, just the contrast between Tamara being a genuine, upset, little bit of anger showing as well, but also you can see that she's pretty much going to go into like a multi-month depression. She seems like she could be prone to depression, unfortunately. You know, I really feel for her. I'd love to give her a hug and just tell her she's not alone.
As doing the kind of work I do, I would think, there's this person, and then he loves Wendy. Danny makes Wendy's life very difficult. Wendi is currently making his life very difficult. I don't know him to be a lunatic, but he's a jealous guy.
Okay. All right.
That's what I would say. He's my colleague, so he's somebody I think of as a decent guy.
That would be who now?
Jeff Lacasse is my colleague.
Okay. All right.
Are you leaving?
Yes, I'm being kicked out.
Oh, really?
Really. But I can come get you if you need me.
Okay.
Okay? So if you can't drive, it's no problem.
What's your number, Jane, so I can give you a call?
321-4657. I'm happy to come get you. You need to talk to these guys.
Can you make sure someone goes to see Danny? I guess they're gonna do
You're
that.
gonna
That's
do
not
that,
your
right?
job.
You're gonna make sure that there's
I know Sergeant Baldwin, when I was out there, I didn't talk to her when you
it's
were
really
there, so they were
critical
working on that.
that he be blessed today.
Oh,
It's absolutely
okay,
critical
gotcha.
that he see
Okay.
that a rabbi go there, absolutely critical.
Okay,
Alright, honey.
bye. Thank you for coming.
Okay, I am available to you, I'm going now, but you know,
Yeah.
this is a process and you're gonna move through it. Thank
Okay.
you, I'm glad, thanks very much. And these guys were very generous to let me come in here at all, so thanks very much for
You're
it.
welcome. I'll be back.
I think he'll just ask you some more questions.
Okay, let's go on to part 4. How do we do that? Is this it? Okay.
When they split up, I went down and met with Wendi and went out with Wendi and Charlie and his friends. It's mind blowing, but the legal situation was getting to another point where it was blowing up.
Oh my god. Well, my parents sounded really surprised, so it's at least a relief. I was trying to think of who would be angry enough to do something to him. My parents would be angry, but they're not capable of this. Thank God. I really couldn't handle that right now.
No one would say that. And you can say, "Oh, Matrix, you don't know how people would react in crisis. You weren't walking in their shoes." You don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. And this is bullshit. Oh, I'm just trying to think about who would be angry enough at him to do something like this. Well, my parents would be angry, but they're not capable of this. Thank God. It just makes me sick. You know, I really can't think of a punishment good enough for her. Send her to jail? Well, no, I think she needs to be publicly shamed and exposed. The courts, they have to handle something so carefully, especially with Wendi. They are going to cross their T's and dot their lowercase J's. And because any infraction, any unconstitutional whatever, her appeal will be, she's going to have the cream of the crop legal team, the best we've seen yet. There's not going to be any Dan Rashbaum. There's not going to be any Tara Kawas. There's not going to be any Christopher DeCoste. There's not even going to be what was Sigfredo Garcia's lawyer called? Mr. Sanguinet. I never know how to say his name. I mean, he wasn't very good, to be honest. But what did he have to work with? He had a couple of funny moments. But he didn't really. He came across the least competent of all the attorneys we've seen, I think. Sorry, Mr. Sanguinet, but I think you already knew that.
Yeah.
And
Does Wendi know that? Is it involve Wendi?
No. So let me just talk to you later.
See, if I was Roberta Glass right now, I'd be like, was it Wendi? No, Wendi? No, not Wendi. Definitely not Wendi. Hey, Roberta, where are you? Oh, you're probably doing your show right now, huh? Your better show with loads more viewers. Well, we're a new channel, so get off our backs. We're growing day by day. Hey, like, share, leave a comment, subscribe.
And
Exactly. What is it? Is everyone's health okay?
Yeah.
All right. Does it involve me or other people?
Well, probably both of us.
What's that?
Probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea what I'm talking about.
All right.
It was a big family to family but Danny talked to him about everything. Like they were like brother and sister.
See, I don't want to objectify women at all, and maybe this isn't the time and the place. But I must say that the cleavage we can see here is tastefully laid out. It looks fun, but it's not overly inviting, right? It's like it's there, but you can ignore it if you want to. Wendi Adelson in the synagogue was just like in your face. Too much.
Sister to him while he was here.
Okay.
And he needed that kind of rock. He was a mess with what Wendi put him through. And I'll tell you that Maya, on some level, suspects that Wendi's family might be involved. Alex is really trying not to think that way. Let me pull up Dan's messages. Let me see if there's the list of attorneys. That's what I wanted to go through. He says, I hope you're not using Wendi's lawyer. So who does she have? Currently Kristen Adamson. Sorry, Kristen Adamson. I'll just let you see it.
This was her attorney. That's what she's talking about. Before was Shannon Novi.
This is Danny writing to me.
Okay.
Because I was in the process of trying to find an attorney, which I didn't end up using with my ex.
Okay.
But the way that this went was every so often, each of them would change lawyers. And what that would do was conflict out the attorney for the other person.
Not sure how that works, but okay. You're the law grad.
Basically, if they've ever talked to you about your case,
Right.
you can't represent the other person.
Okay.
So they went around and get consultations and had each person for a little while. If they didn't like how the attorney was handling it, they'd attorney shop.
And the other one couldn't use the one they just got through with.
And they're only a certain
Man, I knew that. You know. Ice him again. Stop thinking about lunch, man.
number of family certified attorneys in town.
Okay.
It got ugly. I mean, it was a long list of, and he was actively filing motions to conflict out people she was selecting as of when we went to dinner on June 4th.
So it sounds like they're both trying to eliminate all the possible attorneys that the other side can have.
Correct. It was honestly, it was just ugly. Okay. And for a while it became ugly in a really like a Cold War sort of way. And then in the last month and a half, it had started heating up again. Originally, she had asked me, I did the guest lecture June 17th. Originally, she had sent me an email asking me to guest lecture on June 3rd, which was my birthday, so I remember it. Because she wanted me to guest lecture on the dates she and Danny were supposed to go into court. And then that got moved. So they were going back and forth that whole time.
Up until this past June?
This was this June.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying, what were they going to go to court for on June 3rd?
They were going to court again for this. He was trying to raise those issues, those particular issues.
Had he notified, had he already filed this motion? Had he already?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know that they were going to court and then he wanted to adjust it to add certain things on for conflict and for this failure to disclose aspect.
And she was notified of that?
I assume so. And she, when she used to trust me and talk to me about her legal stuff, and then she felt like I was getting too close to Danny, she, her parents were goading her on, like, you need to go to the mattresses, you need to get, and they wanted to be done with him and really stick it to him. There was a mentality when she would talk to me and when I was present with them when they would talk, that he owed her.
Okay.
And he owed her big time, which they weren't married a whole lot of years, but there was this, he owes you. That was, and I don't know whether it was because she had told them she felt she had been abused or what, but that was incredibly present. And the people that she talked to on Team Wendi had heard stories that Danny was very upset about, and he spent time trying to change that. So it got personal, it got professional, it was unpleasant.
Did Danny ever concede that he owed her more money?
No, he felt like he owed her less money. I mean, he would do anything for the boys. He would give everything for the boys. But in terms of her taking something that she wasn't owed, he was not.
No, I know, but I'd heard something before about that there was some contention in this divorce that he had not paid for everything.
And that was the case, I think, earlier on, to my knowledge.
I don't know if it was the equity of the house or.
Yeah, they disagreed on house. Yeah, that sounds right. They disagreed on that. They disagreed on the jewelry, the heirloom, and then in going through this process, it was the concealment of the $500,000 in assets. And I didn't understand the details of what that entailed. If that was like inheritance money, I think she thought it was inheritance money that he wasn't entitled to. But it was a back and forth of, you just didn't do this, you didn't disclose that, you should have done this, and it was, she felt trapped. I know she felt trapped here. And I know that he, especially now dating someone in New York, was like, he wanted things to move on. I mean, he wanted, even before he started dating Amy, when he was talking to me, he wanted to move on.
Tallahassee, I think a lot of Tallahassee, this is my home, but yeah. I know a lot of people are.
She gave him a nice smile then. Simple old Isom. General Isom thinks of a lot of Tallahassee as his home. Smelly Tallahassee. He knows everybody in the donut shop by first name. And she gives him this little smile like he's cute.
He wanted to move on.
Tallahassee, I think a lot of Tallahassee, this is my home, but yeah. I know a lot of people are of the opinion, well, Tallahassee's not Miami, it's not Orlando, it's definitely not New York, it's not Boston.
Yeah. So, you could go on all day with that, man. Yeah, it's not Las Vegas, it's not St. Louis, it's not Phoenix, it's not Los Angeles. The list is endless.
So a guy, I mean, I just wondered, I never quite understood why they landed here from everything I've heard.
So he wanted to be a full-time professor, and he had some friends here who lived here before me and had talked to them as well. And so FSU became the option. And they had lived in DC together before they came down here, and seemed to have a nice romance, seemed like a nice couple. And they moved here, and she was miserable here. Even before the wedding. And
even before the wedding, guys.
He wanted to set up roots. He wanted to have a kind of a, he's Canadian of all things, but he wanted like a Burby family, go to shul, and he could establish himself. And this provided enough of a small town feel that he's like, I'm going to throw myself into it. And he was happy to do that. he wanted the house. When they got the house together, he wanted to do it all up, and he was excited about that. And she went along, but I knew she wasn't excited about it.
Well, why Tallahassee as opposed to someplace down in South Florida where she's from?
That's not a place where he could get a professorship immediately.
Okay.
It's bigger competition.
Okay.
And I don't think he was as keen on Miami. In fact, after she left him, he's like, I'll even move down to Miami with you, kind of thing. Showing him. But I was too late at that point. But he didn't want to go down to Miami. She always felt they would end up in Miami. I think they lived in Miami. Yeah, they did. They lived in Miami she lived in Miami while she was finishing school for a year. So they were down in Miami for a little bit together. I actually went and visited them in Miami.
Oh, they were married?
I don't even think they were married yet. I'm not sure. It was either just before or shortly after they got married that they were down in Miami. When I was still married and I lived in Brandon, they came when they were engaged and stayed at my house for a couple of nights. So her life was South Florida, but she grew up there, wanted to be back there, especially when the kids came. She wanted to be close to her parents. It was a little overwhelming for her, especially with two boys. And he was, hey, we're here, and let's go into the community and really become a part of it. And so he was trying to help her get a teaching position at FSU. And so she started as an adjunct, and she was teaching the medical legal clinical. Marshall Cap, she was the person she reported to. He was at the service today. And she started bringing me in to guest lecture, and I've done it every semester for the last 3 years, including her summers. So I always have touched base with her, but it's once a semester, once every 3 or 4 months, and Danny, it's, at least every month I'm hanging out with him at some point.
Okay. All right. So basically, from our conversation,
I don't feel good about her dad.
right. Anybody else in the family besides him?
I haven't seen Charlie in a really long time, but I know that she was relying heavily on Charlie, and if she was telling anyone about what happened or what she felt happened, it would have been Charlie.
Okay.
And that he was very protective of her. Danny felt like he was okay with Charlie at the beginning, and then over time he felt like he wasn't anymore. And I think the same thing. He felt like he was fine with her parents, and then all of a sudden they flipped on him. He was very confused about it. And I think over time, when he was hearing some of the things that she had passed along to colleagues, who then started looking at him funny, he realized that her family members may be thinking the same things. And I don't know exactly what she was telling them, but he was painted as not a nice person.
Okay.
So it became very he said, she said. Now, I do believe they both love those children to death. But I've never seen a father so devoted. And she became very happy to travel, and she'd be gone for just periods at a time and leave the boys. I don't know who she left them with, if her parents came up or what, but she would just leave. And it really bothered him too, because when she did that, sometimes he wouldn't get the boys, or it was like a day off, and so she's like, oh, well, they'll just stay with this person this time. And so there were little takes where she kept trying to cut into his time schedule.
Okay, I'm just going to read these out for all the people listening on the podcast that can't read along. Rabbit says, the Adelsons were so very hung up on Miami because they are all about outward appearances, not internal peace, self-knowledge, education, or meaningful relationships. Every single time, Rabbit, you've got the knowledge, girl. That's it's very insightful. I really see them as like villains in a Disney film, you know, in an old school cartoon Disney film where they represent the most you know, morally conflicted, or maybe no, that's not the right word, morally desolate aspects of human nature, you know, but in an accentuated way, like in the Disney films, right? Like think of I don't know, Pocahontas or Lady and the Tramp, Beauty and the Beast, like Gaston. Remember Gaston in Beauty and the Beast? He would so be an Adelson. I think his name in the film was actually Gaston Adelson.
Well,
And then characters like Lacasse and Tamara and Georgia Kappelman and who else calls them out on everything, you know, exposes them for what they are. Just basically, they hold up a mirror, and the Adelsons don't like to look in the mirror. Honestly, they love to look in the mirror at their selves, at their steroid physique and cosmetically manufactured appearances. You know, they love looking in the mirror literally, but figuratively, they can't do it.
But they had a little bit of a groove for a while where it seemed like it was going okay. And then just in the last few months, it has felt like a renewed flurry of legal activity. And she seemed happy and excited about this social worker boyfriend. And Dan thought maybe she would calm down and be happy and start her own path. And he had recently gone out to visit her. So after we went to dinner, he was leaving to go visit her. And they had this pattern where they switch off every couple of weeks. Mostly he would fly up because she had some flying issues and was a little bit timid about flying. So he would go up, and she was scheduled to come down and meet the boys in person for the first time, which recently just happened. So he was all excited about that, and she had started Skyping with the boys. My understanding was that Wendi had found out that she was Skyping with the boys and was furious about it. And this is very recently.
I didn't know that.
So Amy had started coming more into the boys' lives, and I don't think she was handling it well, from what I've heard. No, I don't.
She was Skyping from here. Danny was having the boys on Skype here while he had them.
I don't know. I think he may have tried to put her on while he was with her.
Oh.
While the boys were with Wendi. That's my understanding.
Cornburger, what you mean, Mr. Hyundai Elantra? Mr. Drop your knife sheath, Mr. Use your phone while you're stalking the house and get the attention of the, you know, he got questions about where he was parked while he was stalking out the houses in Idaho. Is that the guy you're talking about? I haven't heard him being called Cornburger before. Cornburger. Brian, Mr. Hey, yeah, family. Now that we're back in Pennsylvania, why don't we not throw any of our trash out? Or if we do, we'll put it in the neighbor's trash can, like 3 doors down, and I'll take it at night, and I'll wear gloves when I take the trash to the neighbor's trash can. How many times did that guy get pulled over? how many times did that guy get pulled over in like in the time surrounding the event in question? I mean, unbelievable. I mean, like 3 of them were caught on film. Crazy. But I haven't really been keeping up with that case. I like the look of the prosecutor, though. He looks like a lumberjack. You know, Idaho. We don't get many cases out of Idaho, right? You know, everything's in Florida. Everything's in Wisconsin, or you know, you get a few out of South Carolina's been pretty hot the last year or two. Colorado, a lot of cases in Colorado. But, you know, there's a lot of cases everywhere, I guess. But I guess it's more to do with state position on allowing cameras in the courtroom. I think Wisconsin has been having the TV cameras in the court for a long time, way before this huge, you know, internet spectacle of all of us guys, people watching. Yeah, well, tell me your thoughts on Kornberger, obsessive alcoholics. Obsessive alcoholics. What are we to infer from that name? Or Rabbit, for that matter, or True Crime Metro. Well, you know, my name's pretty self-explanatory. What are you, in recovery? Charlie has had hair transplants. Well, he needs them. You know, he needs a few face transplant. You know, just to wipe that dumb look off his face. TLDR for rich Jews hire to shitty Mexican hitman to kill an axe. Okay, I'll have to come back to you on that one, Obsessive.
Oh, okay.
which upset her,
Okay.
which would make more sense if she were present. When I walked into Wendy's yesterday, and I'm assessing the situation, and Janine was there, and they like went into a private conversation, and I'm sitting down, and they're like, well, does Amy, you know, we'd have to talk to Amy, and and I said, I talked to Amy, and I said, does she know? They said, yeah, she knows. I'm like, no, not what happened. Does she know? As if, does she know where the investigators are looking, was the implication. And I said, what do you mean? And the next question was Wendi redirected, and she said, has she talked to her husband? And so she started down this path with Janine there of making me wonder, or wanting to make me wonder if Amy's husband was involved. I still didn't feel led that way, even with that discussion change. But that was the path. Wendi is good at keeping things close to the vest and redirecting. And for example, she and I were pretty close while she was writing that book. She didn't tell me she was writing the book at all. And then when she finally told me, she gave me a copy, and it was like, oh, you know, author lives in Tallahassee with her 2 sons.
Now, was this a book about a single woman raising 2 children?
Yeah. This is our story. It was a fictionalized version of human trafficking based on her clinical work.
Okay.
And it's apparently hit. It was selected at FSU to be it was like their one book or something campus. So everyone who joined, every new freshman gets a copy of her book. I was told that up at UNC, or up at Duke, there's a copy of her book in the law library up at Duke. She's God, she was one of the few people that she self-published, and then after she self-published, because she was so good at publicizing it, people came back and wanted to formally publish it for her, which is rare. And Dan was all like supportive about everything.
God, doesn't that sound like such a Wendi Adelson move? Self-publish a book and then go and schmooze people with your contact lenses and your sexual chemistry and just get some publisher to say, yeah, just put this through on print, and then go to the university and say, yeah, just hand this out as a free gift to every single freshman that comes through the door as their what is that deal with the universities in the States? You get given a book, and is there like a class on it, or it's just something to be a conversation starter? Or did anyone go to State University over there? Actually, we don't even know where Obsessive Alcoholics is from, or any of you other guys. And where's Rabbit? Rabbit's disappeared. She's gone back to her rabbit hutch. Bring us back some fantastic insight, Rabbit.
And all this kind of stuff, and it's still.
And a carrot.
Honestly, when I looked at that, I'm like, it was one of the things I noted, but I put in the back of my mind with every other little weird thing. And then when she left him, I was like, oh, she knew this was coming. But she when she finished, it was like a whole year before she left him.
So, you know, if you had time tonight after work or some other time in the very near future, I'm going to need to speak with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Did someone write a letter to you or something?
I got some paperwork hand delivered to me.
You're being sued?
No, that's what I thought it was, but I'm going to need to talk to you.
I think it's so funny how much comes out about the Adelsons in this call that's nothing to do with the murder. Like, he goes straight to, are you being sued? Like, that might be expected. And then he goes, is it the IRS? Nothing dodgy about this family at all, you know.
Okay.
Okay. So, I mean, I could even, I don't know, have to figure out something. Depends how late you'll be wherever you are.
Well, I'm in Mitch Klein's office on Oakland Park Boulevard.
Okay.
So I'm right now in the Skyline Chili, and then I'll be at his office in the afternoon.
Okay. So the boys will finish their piano lesson around 4-ish, and I don't know how bad the traffic will be. I may take a ride with them up there.
Does Dad know about this?
No, Dad's at work today, fortunately.
What's
Okay.
I can't. Is it IRS or?
You know, those IRS people, they kind of bother you sometimes, but, you know, fortunately not now.
Okay.
So I will talk to you.
Yeah, Charlie does have a small chin. But you know what I noticed about Charlie and little sis, Wendi? They both have really wide necks. Even in this picture right here, where his neck looks pretty normal, but then his chin is so small, it makes his neck look wide. And I was looking at Wendi on the stand the other day, and it was like, what is with your neck, girl? Maybe that's why she has to put her breastises out all the time, because, you know, just to draw the eye away from the big neck.
I'll give you a heads up if I'm going to drive up that way. Okay. And
Does Wendi know that? Is it involved Wendi?
No. So let me just talk to you later. And if
Yeah,
I'm gonna
what is it? Is everyone's health okay?
yeah,
All right. Does it involve me or other people?
well, probably both of us.
What's that?
Probably the two of us.
All right.
So,
Does it involve me or other people?
well, probably both of us.
What's that?
Probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea what I'm talking about.
All right.
So let's just find some time to talk to each other and take the boys for a ride, okay?
You're going to take the boys up there?
Well, Wendy doesn't come home. Wendy doesn't get here till about 7.
And how dumb is Donna to make this call? I mean, it's on page 1 of the criminal manual. Like, don't use cell phones or any phones, especially if something like that happens that's so freaky. I mean, she must have thought this could be the police. It must have gone through her head. She can't have just thought, oh, the gang members have found us. There must have been a question. I don't think she's that stupid. But she made the call, so maybe I'm wrong.
When Dad gets here.
So it's urgent you talk to me today.
Today or tomorrow. I mean, it's important.
All right.
I know what to do.
Well, I'll be up at Mitch Klein's
I
office.
can't help but feeling like this is all my fault.
Why do you feel that way?
Why would somebody do this, right? Like if I had been still married to him, then there wouldn't be anyone that was angry, right? Like there wouldn't be any kind of disgruntled, wouldn't be Amy's husband. This can't be a random act of violence. This has to be on purpose. Someone did this for a reason.
But and this is why I tell everybody, you don't cause people's actions. You can control your actions. You can't control anyone else's.
Oh,
And I know it's hard. And, as you and I kind of talk throughout this process, when time comes, I'll make recommendations for things that might be good for you and for the boys. But right now, let's just kind of deal with tonight.
Yeah.
We'll get there. But
okay, here goes. This is the worst day of my life. Maybe I should text them if I can't reach them. Hi, Mom. How's it going? Mom, I need you to sit down. I am fine. The boys are fine. I need you to sit down. I'm fine, and the boys are fine. Danny has been. You can put me on speaker. Yeah. Danny has been shot. And I don't think he's gonna make it. And so I know. So I found this out around 1 or 2 today, and I'm at the police station, and I'm trying to help them figure out who may have done this. The boys are fine. I had Lynn and Alan pick them up from school, and they're with Lynn and Alan right now. And I'm gonna leave here soon and go be with them. But I really need you to come here and be with me. But I want you to either fly, obviously you can't leave right now, but I need you to get yourself together. If it's too much to drive, I'd really rather that you flew up. I'm at the police station, and
Too much to drive? Are you kidding? Harvey is backing the car out of the driveway as we speak. We're already packed. We've booked a lunch at our favorite stop off in Gainesville.
and I'm gonna leave soon and be with the boys before they go to bed. They're with Alan and Lynn, and they're totally fine. Yeah, the boys are fine, but they don't know anything yet. I in his house. I know. I know. So I just need you to calm down before you get in the car, okay? Okay, so and it's it's evening, so if you want to come here tomorrow, I have a lot of people that'll be here with me, and we'll have a lot of support. So I want you to take your time and just be safe in getting here, but I'd like you to come when you can, okay? Okay. All right. I love you. I think Jane might, I have the car here, but Jane might take me. I'm not going to be alone. So I have a lot of support and I'll be fine. But yeah, if you could just come here, that would be great. He's in the ICU in the hospital. Okay, but be careful, okay? Okay. 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 Love you too. Bye.
And if you could just tell Charlie to hold off with the payment until we get confirmation that Professor Markel is dead, that'd be great.
Mom.
You did awesome with that call. You were so stressed out about it, and you handled it.
I just want you. I talked to Alan, okay, and just because my suggestion to him, just because was if he goes to the house.
Sorry, my mom might be calling back because she heard me. Mom? You did, yeah. I just wanted to ask if you could just tell Charlie for me. I just don't want to be making calls right now, so if you could just tell Charlie for me, that would be great. Okay.
Yeah, tell Charlie to keep that big bag of money to himself, because we're not going to be paying for just traumatic facial injury here. We need his heart to be stopped before we spend one dime.
Okay, and just like it's on the news a little bit that there was a shooting on Trescott, and so I'm starting to get a lot of calls, and I'm not going to be answering them unless they're from you. So I would really try not to tell anybody what's going on just yet, just because like he's in the hospital and Charlie. I talked to Charlie earlier today, obviously before any of this happened.
Hey, Muse. Yeah, I love Roberta Glass too. Do me a favor. Go and tell her to come on our show. We'd love to have her as a guest. That'd be fantastic. She could do her Donna impressions all day long over here. I'm still practicing. When we get on to the Donna Adelson series, I'm going to be tip-top sharp. Yeah, she'll be coming to me for advice, Roberta. Oh.
Things like I talked to him at like 10 this morning, and he said that he was coming to visit you guys this weekend, and he had plans, and he sounded good. I just can't, Mom. So can you just tell him? Yeah, just tell him for me, and then I'm sure I'll talk to him soon. But I don't want to be on the phone unless I have to right now. Okay? Okay. All right. Love you too. Bye.
Okay, Obsessive Alcoholics says, Black women feel more comfortable with changing positions and carrying on the sex. Okay. Well, that's a little bit of a generalization, wouldn't you say? I mean, You know, I think you get all sorts everywhere, right? Yeah. Love has no bounds, as they say. Rabbit, hey, Donna and Harvey do not leave Miami for hours. They had the cash to pay for the hit, and Charlie wasn't home yet. Charlie didn't get home until after 9. After 9? Oh, right, because it was just business as usual, right? No one was just waiting for the call. Yeah. Donna was washing the money, right? That'd be a great scene in the film where she's just got the rubber gloves on in the kitchen sink with $100,000 in cash, scrubbing up the Benjamins. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. Muse Studio says Wendi is a narcissistic sociopath. 100%. And the malignant kind, meaning she will not go away like a tumor. Ditto for Donna and Charlie, diabolical. I'd add duplicitous, Mr. Wordy or Mrs. Wordy. Harvey might be too, but he's more opaque about it. Though Tamara paints a very disturbing picture. Yeah, you know, I said this the other day. This family and Harvey totally agree that you know, Charlie's just this wannabe gangster who's watched too many Sopranos shows, too many Joe Pesci movies, and you know, he's just a privileged, spoiled brat. You know, when he was a kid, he said he might want to try playing tennis, and his parents, Donna and Harvey, built him a tennis court, a double tennis court at their house. I mean, I had to do so many chores just to get a racket, and that was still secondhand from a yard sale. Though Tamara paints a very disturbing picture. Absolutely. But yeah, no, what I was saying was all the stuff we know about the Adelsons. Just imagine the things that we don't know. I mean, I bet Harvey has had people, what are those things called? Zip tied to a chair, hitting him in the face with the phone book. You know, I mean, I think he might be an actual gangster. You know, I'd love to know about his connections in Israel. Obsessive alcoholics. Charlie admitted to pumping steroids. Well, yeah. Did you see those pictures of him? I mean, you can always tell when someone's roided up. It's like you know, this guy. You know, you just don't get like that. You know, a roided up guy looks like a roided up guy, and a guy who is healthy and works out and does resistance training and weight training looks totally different and way better, in my opinion. Obviously, people have different tastes. Kornberger is innocent, despite what experts say. Experts say he is 13 inches and ejaculates into panties. Okay. This is a place where we share our opinions, and everyone's entitled to do that. I could have done without reading this one. But thanks for your input. Yeah, I guess I'm looking forward to the trial, but I heard there was some question about whether or not there would be any cameras in the courtroom in Idaho. Rabbit, are you as confused as I am? What is going on?
Handled that pretty well. Could you hear her?
Yeah.
My mom handled that pretty well. Could you hear her?
Yeah. I think, you know, because you're a mama, but moms always go in that natural instinct to kind of protect and help. And
Oh my God. Well, my parents sounded really surprised, so it's at least a relief. Well, my parents sounded really surprised, so it's at least a relief. I was trying to think of who would be angry enough to do something to him. My parents would be angry, but they're not capable of this. Thank God. I really couldn't handle that right now. My parents would be angry, but they're not capable of this. Thank God. I really couldn't handle that right now.
yeah,
Jeff sounds crazy when I talk about him like this.
I don't think so.
Okay, obsessive alcoholic says another bit of wisdom here. There is no such thing as sober, lol. All right, I'm sober. I've been sober for almost 3 months now. Yeah. I joined Alcoholics Anonymous about 3 months ago, and it's fantastic. You know, it's totally nothing like what you think it is. You know, I don't know if your username is ironic or not, but you know, wherever you're at, and that's okay. And just be safe, and you know, everybody look after each other. Everybody be kind to each other. This is a friendly place, right? What have we got from Muse here? We says Charlie's mugshot is priceless. I wonder if he if he's seen it himself. Yeah, I bet he has. It'll be in his you know, they show it to you on a computer screen when they take it, and it would have been in his discovery files. And it does look hilarious. He looks really Israeli in that picture. Yeah, he looks like an Israeli terrorist or something. I wonder if he's seen it himself. It would really pain him, given the giant narcissist he is. I don't know. It seems to me he's trying to come across looking defiantly noble. He loved his locks. I think he shaved his head to look tough in prison. No, that's standard procedure, I think. They just shave your head when you go in. You know, if it's to do with lice control, because if there's an outbreak of lice in prison, they got a problem. You know, so it's you don't have to keep your head shaved, but when you go in, they shave it, I believe. If anybody knows that's wrong, please let me know. I'm happy to say I'm wrong. Okay, obsessive. If Kornberger is innocent, then let him walk around the streets. Okay, does anybody else know? Is this guy talking about Kohberger? Brian Kohberger? He keeps calling him Kornberger, which I'm assuming is a joke, like a play on word. But then 13 inches and jacks off in panties? I don't know what you're talking about, man. Sorry. I drank and smoked weed every day. I'm almost 40. I drink and smoke weed every day. I'm almost 40, sorry. Okay. Well, that's good for you. That's good for you. I hope you're having a good time. I hope you're where you want to be. I am. And I'm pretty okay with that. I listen to you. I listen to you like you sound like a bitch. Okay. When you discover you are a real man, you will kill yourself. Be a man, Cornberger. Okay, I think obsessive alcoholics might have been drinking from the wrong cup tonight or something. I don't know what he or she has been drinking. Okay.
It sounds crazy when I talk about him like this.
I don't think so.
I really hope he didn't do this.
Is there something that would make you feel like he would be capable of something? Because you said
Who is like capable of doing something like this? I don't know anyone that like I represent victims of trafficking, but like I don't know the traffickers. And, like I don't spend time with them. And so in my mind, like someone who's capable of like
Yeah, Wendy's like, no, you know what? I don't know what a criminal is. I mean, I remember hearing about it in theory, but I only work with the victims of crime, so I actually I'm not familiar with what a criminal actually is.
distinguishing a human life or like thinking someone else's life is less than theirs. Like I work with the victims who have been thought as less than human, but not with the people who think that's okay.
So let's put this in context. Let's assume for a second that Wendi is innocent and had nothing to do with the murder. Let's assume, therefore, that she has a legitimate fear while sitting there in the interrogation room, discussing the options of who may have done this to her beloved ex. She has a reasonable fear that the culprits may have been people who loved her, who did this for her. That includes, and is not limited to, her parents and her brother, by her own admission, right? And so, what would she do next? She's an attorney, a professor, a smart person, sitting in an interrogation room.
Okay, I don't know if we need to watch Mentor playing with his little dog here. Let's go to the last. Oh, is that it? Oh no, 4 of 6. Well, where's 5? Oh, Mentor lawyer. You need to get the playlists, man. So, okay, hang on, guys. I'm going to go to his channel. Wow, he's got a lot of content, huh? It's a great channel. Here we go. 5 of 6.
Hey, Sarah. Good. Yes, I'm with her now.
Oh, look at this guy. Obsessive alcoholics. What is this, man? Okay. True Crime Metrics is aware he is gay. Okay. Well, yeah. Sorry you're sorry you're not enjoying the show, obsessive alcoholics. I hate to break it to you, but you're kind of embarrassing yourself. You got a little malfunction going on here. Okay. Well, yeah, you're free to leave your comments, free to go and whatever. That's That's good for you, man. Glad you're in a happy space.
Well, she was going to help them look for that, but that's just not that I know of. Well, actually, we're just about done here, and she can go back by the house if that's what she wants
Yes, please.
to. So
Which house? Dan's house.
they were what? Okay. All right. I'll let her know. Uh-huh. Bye. Apparently it sounds like they're having some type of difficulty finding this will or possibility of a will, or I don't know that if they even know for sure.
I just know that at some point we talked about him having one. Again, I don't know where in the timeline it is at all.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So she wrote this book. It's going to come out this fall.
No, it came out.
Okay.
I don't remember when it came out. I can probably go through notes and figure out. But the timeline for when she left him, she had published it many months before she left, and that's how she put it in the book.
Okay.
So she had been planning it for a long time.
Because there was no acknowledgement of him as her husband, even though they were still married at the time. Okay, and they were still living together at that time? Okay.
Yep. And she told me later that, she had been thinking about it for a long time, but she had really been thinking about it for a long time. Like, it was a deftly executed plan of, he's gone this weekend, everything out. And the book, having been written so far in advance, was just strange to not include him when he also teaches there, and they were living in the same house and supposedly happily married. So I tried to think maybe that does give some credence to her really wanting to get out because of certain reasons. But Danny can be crass, and I can see how he can come across as condescending. He was just a typical condescending Harvard nerdy type person when I first met him. Like, bow tie wearing, and he would rub people the wrong way because he was very, very highfalutin, these big words. He was very confident in his intelligence, but it came across as arrogant.
Okay.
He came across as arrogant to many people. Over time, he mellowed, especially after Wendi and especially with the boys. He mellowed. He's like, okay, everything doesn't have to be so put in place and nothing's so perfect. And he just matured. And, he went to wearing sandals every day and kind of like slobbing it around. I'm like, oh, this is interesting, this phase. But he just became more comfortable in his own skin and in Tallahassee. And he, especially hearing it now, like, he was able to make a lot of friends. If he rubbed people the wrong way or he seemed arrogant, people were eventually won over by his kind of, self-deprecating at times, but wise, silly sarcasm. And he was very silly. In his professional life, so he started Prof's blog. He was doing this website called Prof's blog. He was very active. He had gathered academics from across the United States, and they were all working on
I love
this blog.
I love the Prof's blog thing in in Charlie's trial, where they're trying to, Daniel Rashbaum's trying to suggest that that Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera could have been reading up on the Prof's blog to get Dan Markel's travel schedule. And just the idea of those two knuckleheads, those blunder brothers, sitting down looking at this Harvard educated law blog is hilarious to me. I don't know why I find that so funny. I just do.
but he was the main person doing it, and it really took off. I mean, I think it was ranked on some list in the last year, like fairly high.
Was this for law professors?
It's spelled PRAWFS blog, Prof's blog. And he was happy. I mean, he thought he was happy with Wendi, and then after he left, he was miserable. After she left, he was miserable, and then he was finally getting back. He was getting back, and I think all he wanted is for his children to grow up in that legacy. And all of his close friends know that at the first chance she gets, she'll be in South Florida. There will not be any Jewish upbringing. His friends are freaking out about this right now. And that pretty much any wish that he had for them would be just completely out the door. But they were having a very difficult time balancing their wishes.
What?
Balancing their wishes.
Okay.
Because they were so opposite of each other.
Right.
It was the type of thing where the sentiment was it would not end.
Okay.
And for Wendi to have acted on multiple occasions, including the time she left, in a very long-term, very secretive planning mode, and then a very almost shockingly sudden execution, it just makes me wonder. And I don't know if that's a family trait, but I know that everyone, family, friends, everyone was tired of having different teams, tired of this legal back and forth. And if people felt it wasn't going to end, I could see them wanting to make an end.
Okay. And like you said, this opens up all her options as to where she goes from here.
Yeah. And I care about her, and I've been friends with her, but it's through Danny that I first met her, and I've been friends with him for a decade before that.
And I love him. You know, I think if it wasn't going to be like a bit of a faux pas, like socially awkward, kind of like, you know, when your friend breaks up with their girlfriend and then you get with that girlfriend and then things between you and your friend are just different. You know, it's uncomfortable for everybody. Apart from the girl who loves it. Or the boy, if it's the other way around.
And it was because of her that my loyalty was, I can't date you right now either. So it's like I've tried to respect.
Oh, there you go.
That. I've tried to respect.
You just said it.
Where everyone is. But I'm already devastated. I'm kind of in the numb zone right now. But he was my confidant. He was my advisor.
And I think Isom sitting down with her, this is the next day after he was with Wendi for, 6 hours? When she was going, who would do this? Oh, it wasn't happening. You know, all that overacting melodrama, just diabolical diatribe of nonsense. Now he's looking at this woman and he's remembering what real grief looks like. What real reactions to this kind of impact looks like. And he's going, man, I was duped. And I let her walk out of here. I drove her home.
he was someone who I could trust, and that for me was very rare. So I don't know what I'm gonna be doing without him here. Maybe get out of Tallahassee.
You worried for your own safety?
I was worried, like, if
Let's talk about the marriage. You and Professor Markel, you met when you were in law school. You told that to Miss Capel. And it was a whirlwind romance, right? Right?
It was not a whirlwind romance, no.
It led to a wedding, February 26th of 2006. You had a big wedding.
I cannot wait to do some longer episodes on Magbanawa, Katie's attorneys. I love listening to Christopher DeCoste. I really, you know, I don't necessarily think he's just or effective, but I just love his pace and his tone, and he's kind of a little bit cheeky, you know. I really enjoy listening to him. We're gonna do some full breakdowns of his style soon. Make sure you all subscribe to the channel, yeah? Like, share, leave a comment. Where's play?
In Boca Raton, right?
Did we get married on February 26, 2006? Is that the question? Yes,
In Boca Raton.
in Boca Raton, Florida.
And it wasn't a small wedding. It was a big wedding.
There were many people in attendance.
In Boca Raton, Florida. I mean, is there another Boca Raton? I really don't think so. I know in the States, you know, cities are called the same thing everywhere. Like there's 15 Springfields in each state, you know, and Bridgeport and whatever, you know. It's really common to have multiple same names in each state. But Boca Raton, this is that thing where Wendi always has to have the last word so that she looks like she's correcting the attorney, right? So it looks like the facts are coming from her. It would really annoy me. She wants a slap, you know, a big slap in the face.
All right, in this marriage,
We're not promoting violence. Don't slap anyone in the face.
it led to 2 children, right? Your 2 boys.
Are you asking me if I have 2 boys?
Yes.
Yes.
Professor Markel, he was a great father, wasn't
He was a very good father, yes.
he? Those boys were his world, right?
As well as his work, yes.
And they adored him too, didn't they?
Absolutely.
Now, this marriage started to fall apart, right?
It did.
But there were problems from the very beginning, weren't there? Right?
Are you asking me, what is the very beginning? The very beginning of when we got married?
Literally at the wedding.
There were problems before we got married.
All right, so at the wedding, and the government asked you about kosher law, right?
About what, I'm sorry?
Keeping kosher,
About keeping kosher, yes.
right?
The government
And your
asked-
wedding, at your wedding was the groom's family, the Markel family, and they are more strict than your family and friends about keeping kosher.
They do not keep kosher.
Wasn't that one of the problems in your marriage, that Professor Markel was very insistent about keeping kosher?
About his kosher rules, but those are different than his family's.
So you're saying that it wasn't a problem at the wedding, that there were people from the groom's side of the family that were there that strictly keep kosher, that they were told that it was going to be kosher food, but it actually wasn't.
So there was a misunderstanding about whether the food was going to be kosher style or more in adherence with kosher law. There was a miscommunication about that.
So you had people.
So you see, Roberta Glass made a big announcement about kosher style T-shirts. I actually went ahead and made one. I wonder if I can show you guys the design. Does anyone think I should release these on Teespring or something like that? Does anyone want a kosher style T-shirt? I don't know where my design is. Maybe I'll save it for the next stream, the next live stream. But yeah, we could do mugs. I mean, but I don't want to, you know, is it crossing a line? Would people who don't know the case think we're like making fun of Jews or something? I you know, that's not what we're doing at all. It's just about this case, you understand? Oh, where's the play button?
People that strictly keep kosher eating non-kosher food, which is a big deal.
That actually is not what happened. Danny was upset that it was kosher style and not strictly adhering to kosher law. So he was disappointed.
So there's problems right from the beginning.
That was a problem at our wedding, yeah.
Wendi is good at keeping things close to the vest and redirecting. And for example, she and I were pretty close.
Okay, I think Obsessive Alcoholics is so drunk he thinks I'm from New Zealand. Is he talking about me? Hey, man, get to a meeting. Pick up the book. It's really good for you, man. You know. But okay, you're on your journey. That's cool, man.
Close while she was writing that book. She didn't tell me she was writing the book at all. And then when she finally told me, she gave me a copy, and it was like, oh, you know, author lives in Tallahassee with her 2 sons.
Now, was this a book about a single woman raising 2 children?
No. This is our story. It was a fictionalized version of human trafficking based on her clinical work.
Okay.
And it's apparently hit. It was selected at FSU to be it was like their one book or something campus. So everyone who joined, every new freshman gets a copy of her book. I was told that up at UNC or up at Duke, there's a copy of her book in the law library up at Duke. She was one of the few people that she self-published. And then after she self-published, because she was so good at publicizing it, people came back and wanted to formally publish it for her, which is rare. And Dan was all like supportive about everything and all this kind of stuff. And it's still, honestly, when I looked at that, I'm like, it was one of the things that I noted, but I put in the back of my mind with every other little weird thing. And then when she left him, I was like, oh, she knew this was coming. But she when she finished, it was like a whole year.
Fast forward now to September 10th, 2012. Professor Markel, he's away on a business trip, right?
Yes.
He's in New York City at New York University, right?
I believe so, yes.
And he's doing a presentation.
I don't know what he was doing.
Your husband at the time was in New York to give a presentation. You knew that, right?
I knew he was in New York. I didn't know if he was attending a conference or giving a presentation, but he was in New York for work.
Now, you had not communicated with him for 2 days.
I really don't remember.
You text him at around 2:30 in the afternoon, right? Right before he's about to do the presentation.
I really don't remember.
But you do remember dropping the bomb on him, don't you? Telling him that you wanted a divorce.
So I did not drop a bomb on him. We'd been in therapy for several months beforehand where I told him several times I wanted a divorce.
You say it's not a bomb, but you agree with me that he begged you to reconsider.
He was very upset and yes, wanted me to reconsider, but
in that phone call, he's begging you to reconsider. Please don't leave. Please don't break up our family, right?
He was very upset, yes.
And he was hard.
So, Rabbit, they didn't do the whole like Mazel Tov, da 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 da, Mazel Tov, with the you know, the lifting of the chairs. They didn't do that at all. I mean, it's just a nightmare. What a nightmare wedding, and the money they must have spent. You know, I bet it was like a I mean, my cousin in Toronto spent like 50 grand on a wedding, and it wasn't even a big deal. It wasn't even like a, you know, I think the Adelson, I mean, granted it was in the early 2000s, but I think it must have been 100 grand.
Broken. I mean, upset indicates that there was anger. What he was heartbroken, right?
That I decided to divorce him after telling him I would, yes.
Despite being at NYU for a presentation, he rushes home. He gets on the next flight, right?
I honestly don't remember if he got on the next flight, but he did come home quickly.
2:30, he finds out.
Okay, Rabbit. Yeah, we've already got three preliminary designs. I'll see if I can do a little work on that tomorrow and publish them on some site like Teespring. And yeah, I guess I'll mention it on the next show. But you know what we should do? We should get we should publish them here and then show them to Roberta's audience. And then get some of Roberta's viewers to join our group. You know, hopefully no alcoholics. I can play, what does he say now? I can play as a 20 C word from New Zealand. I don't even know what he's saying. Is this what a troll is? I'm pretty new to this YouTube game, so you know, all the people that I've been speaking to have been really positive, good contributions, and then some of them are just really entertaining, like this obsessive alcoholics. You know, what is the deal?
Out in New York by 11 p.m. He's walking in the door to your old house at Trescott Drive, right?
I don't know.
But you do know that when he walks in the house, what he finds. You know that, right?
Yes, I left him the papers.
You left the divorce papers on the bed, right?
Yes.
Professor Markel called this Wendy's handling of the divorce a Visigoth-like sacking of the marital home. I think that phraseology really sums up Professor Markel. That's an incredibly intuitive, pretty highbrow way to describe a brutally spiteful way to go about this. She waits till he goes to New York, has all the moving vans and the movers prepared to take all the stuff, divorce papers on the bed, raids the Schwab accounts, steals half the dining chairs, you know, and then calls him to tell him this just as he's about to go on to give a speech, I believe. He quits his speech, gets on the next plane, and is home in a few hours. And then the house is empty, divorce papers on the bed. Can you imagine how, you know, just imagine walking through the silent house with loads of stuff missing. How painful that must have been. What a mean thing to do. And you could understand if he was a violent, abusive, alcoholic, you know, she had to do that because it was the only safe way to do that. But there was no danger like that. There was nothing like that. Those sorts of circumstances that might call for such action. But she did this, like he said, as a Visigoth-like sacking.
Half the furniture was gone.
Half the furniture was not gone.
A good amount of his stuff was gone.
Nothing of his was gone.
The boys' stuff was gone, right?
Some of the boys' things were gone. I'd taken enough so that I had for the boys, but no.
You were gone.
I was gone, yes.
And so were his boys.
His boys were not gone. He saw them the next day, and they would not have been awake if he's coming home at 11 p.m.
Let's stay on topic here.
When he walks in
the door, the boys are not in the house, right?
Correct.
And you did not tell Professor Markel where you were taking the boys. He may have seen them the next day, but you did not let him know where you were going to be staying with his boys.
Without
Yeah, you know, this obsessive alcoholic's character just seems to want to, you know, it's, you know, this must be fun for them, you know. Maybe they're just not very happy in their life, and this is some kind of outlet, you know. That's good for them, you know. If this is helping you achieve some purpose, some meaning, I'm very happy for you. I'm glad we could provide you with that outlet. It's probably a little bit better than beating your wife.
our boys? Yes,
So you agree with me that they're also his.
of course they're his.
And he should be entitled to know where his wife is taking his children.
Absolutely.
That's not all you took, is it?
Excuse me?
You two had a joint checking account at Schwab, right?
We did.
And you went into that account before you dropped the bomb, and you took out half of that account, right?
Correct.
Roughly $350,000.
Half, yes. Of our joint account.
$350,000.
I don't remember the amount, but yes.
You know that it was in the hundreds of thousands.
I really don't remember the amount, sir.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, I know these people are rich, right? Ferraris and Versace's and Lamborghinis and Martinis, right? They're rich. But 350 grand? That is a lot of money. You know, what is the average salary in the States? 50? You know, minimum wage? No, less, right? I mean, like 50, 60 grand is fairly okay money if you're of a certain age. But sidetrack. Let's go.
Is it that insignificant of a sum to you that you
I'm
don't
not saying
remember?
it's an insignificant sum. I'm saying I can't attest to the amount that was there.
I'm going to tone it down. You were unhappy in the marriage, right?
That's why I got divorced, yes.
And it happens. Marriages fall apart, right?
Yes.
But you complained constantly about it, didn't you?
You worried for your own safety?
I was worried, like, if someone is so rational that they would do something like this or put out a hit or plan this or whatever like this or put out a hit or plan this or whatever like this or put out a hit or plan this or whatever, and they feel like someone really suspicious about it, that person, why not? You know? If there's some kind of chink in the plan, and I know Ruth is trying so hard to be gracious because she wants that relationship with those boys. But it would break Danny's heart if it turns out the way that it's seemingly going to now. Where they're in Canada, she'll never let them go see. There's no grandparent rights, right, in Florida? They'll never be raised in that. And I guess that's her right if there's nothing to do with this. But I pray that there's nothing, she and her family had nothing to do with that because those boys need everyone. But there are so many good reasons for him not to be around. And I'm just angry thinking about it. Just even the possibility, I'm furious about it. And when I grieve, it takes me years to actually get angry. So for me to get angry like on day one was very unusual. And if they'd had nothing to do with it, she put him through hell for the last year and a half. And everyone knows that. So there are different people. I didn't even want to call her. I also found it strange that she didn't call me. She knew how close I was to him. I just guest lectured for her. She and I are friends. She didn't reach out to me, contact me, anything. I didn't even want to look at her Facebook page or call her. I'm like, she didn't reach out. This is just weird. And that's why I just showed up
Oh, you talking about today?
yesterday.
Yesterday? Oh, at the house.
Mm-hmm.
Then you showed up unannounced.
Correct.
So when she's saying I'm sorry when she greeted you, you're associating that with I'm sorry I didn't call you. I'm sorry I didn't notify you.
No, that was an I'm sorry for your loss because she knew how close I was to him. No, I found it strange that in the period where she learned something had happened to him.
Again, Isom misses the mark. So when she said sorry to you, you're interpreting that as she was sorry that she didn't call you to let you know. And she's like, no, what interview have you been in for the past 2 hours? It was clear to me at the beginning. What the hell?
And didn't know he had died because apparently that hadn't happened yet. She didn't call me, nothing. She knows I'm his oldest and closest friend here. Didn't call, nothing. Like, it just.
The injuries that he sustained.
Just lost the stream for a second there, guys. I pressed the back button. Everyone back on now? Especially you, Obsessive. We need you in the group, man. You're the king.
They were not that severe. I mean, it caused death, but it was not that as severe and as traumatic as what they were portraying. But that's not unusual for that to occur. I know that there was different theories and people thought there was some type of maniac running loose in the neighborhood. It appears that however this occurred, that he was targeted directly. I don't see anything that indicates someone was in the process of doing another crime and he interrupted them or anything like that. So basically what you pretty much already have it is that unless there's a case of mistaken identity, and I know that there's some other people at the law school with the same last name, that it looks like someone came after Danny.
What on earth? Okay, I know it's only the second day of the investigation, but Isom is now going, well, it could be a case of mistaken identity. What is wrong with this guy? Look who he's got in front of him. Tamara, I always forget her last name. Demko or something? Demko? Tamara's here and she's telling you everything. Listen to Tamara. Mistaken identity. What is he talking about?
Personally, as to why or what the motivation, that's still open. But I'm thinking anybody that would do something like this would probably know the right person. It wouldn't be a case of mistaken identity. It's possible, especially when you have 2 or 3 professors down there with the same pronunciation and similar spelling of the name.
The same pronunciation. Yesterday he was calling him Markel. Oh, God. Chief
Now, as
Whitten.
far as this thing he was consulting on, I understand that's just been within the past couple of weeks. The case that's up north is still going on. And he seems so far removed from that.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
And in addition, he was consulting for the defense. It's not like he was consulting for some type of expert witness for the prosecution.
And he was all about justice and being fair to defendants, especially. That was his work. That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Was it at the door or was it in his car?
His car.
Okay. That was what I had heard on a more personal level. There is a huge mistaken sense that he was on the phone, answered the door, and was shot in the face.
I know that's out there, and I'm not going to correct that.
I understand.
And I don't want you to repeat that.
I won't.
And I know that that's why the whole neighborhood is all up in arms, because nobody's going to want to answer their door now.
I know.
But when you go back to the home, more than likely you're going to understand, because that was the concern of the parents about blood in the house and so on and so forth. And I assured them that there wasn't. And then this morning, I explained to them why there wouldn't be blood in the house.
Hey, Rabbit. Yeah, Alec Baldwin. That's going to be interesting. But don't you find it's a little bit confusing when you have like A-list celebrity actors that have been in like 100 movies on the witness stand? How is it that? Do you remember the Gwyneth Paltrow thing recently? That was weird. That was really weird. That was such a bizarre case. What state was that in? Was it Vermont or? Does anyone know what state the Gwyneth Paltrow thing was in?
I had heard.
Hey, good news, guys. We are now spanning 3 global time zones. We got Eastern Standard, Pacific, and Greenwich Mean. Right on. We're a global organization, guys. You know what we should do? We should set up a I don't know, like a WhatsApp group or something. What do people do when they? My channel won't let me have a community page yet. I don't have enough subscribers, but yeah, it'd be great to just share some ideas. I don't know. Let's get back to the show.
Heard originally it was the driveway, and that's why when I drove past yesterday and just sat there, it also bothered me that I was like, shouldn't there be some sign of him? Shouldn't there be something?
It's inside the garage. You're going to understand. It's going to make more sense when you get back to the house.
Okay.
Because they're not going to, and I don't have a problem if they tell you. They may play dumb or they may act like, they're not supposed to tell you or whatever, but you can tell them that I've already talked to you and so forth.
And is it believed that it was a lie in wait situation?
I don't know about that. I don't know if it was a lie in wait or they followed him or.
Was it an open garage door?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now,
You see, these are the kind of questions that a genuine concerned person asks. Do you know if it was a lie in wait situation? And then, was it an open garage door? Did we see one thing of that from Wendi? Where did this happen? I just talked to him this morning. It was such a horrible thing to say. Oh, God, I just want to wring her neck.
will say this. So both my babysitter and a friend down the street, they all live in Benton, had had their cars broken into over the last several months. It's always been in the evening, though. It's always been for people who just happen to have not locked their door that day.
That's correct.
And no one's ever gotten hurt, to my knowledge. Doesn't fit that either.
No.
It would be an interesting thing if someone knew that was going on, because it was such a long period of time that it occurred, that someone might think, oh, this might be a good thing to imply. But again, that crossed my mind, like, still doesn't fit. So
No, I don't think it's related to anything like that. Those are crimes of opportunity. Somebody comes by, flips the door handles. Actually, I had a conversation with a couple of ladies at the memorial service, and they were asking about that stuff. And I told them, I said, 9 times out of 10, people aren't locking their doors. Even this day and age, it's in their front yard, it's in their driveway, they don't lock it.
is it believed that he saw coming?
He
Hang on, who's not?
He may have. It's not clear yet.
Who's not coming? Let's go back. Just a few seconds.
Those are crimes of opportunity. Somebody comes by, flips the door handles. Actually, I had a conversation with a couple of ladies at the memorial service, and they were asking about that stuff. And I told them, I said, 9 times out of 10, people aren't locking their doors. Even this day and age, it's in their front yard, it's in their driveway, they don't lock it.
Is it believed that?
You know, it's true. Just last year, I was parked on my mother's driveway in a van, sleeping in a van, and it was about 4 a.m, and someone opened the door, a burglar, and my dog went nuts. I jumped out the van, and there was someone running up the road. And I was like, it was really weird, because I was like, should I run after them? Or should I call the cops? I didn't do either of those things. I was like, what are the cops gonna do?
That he saw coming.
I mean, I did think maybe he'd robbed some other people, and if a cop saw someone walking around the neighborhood at that time of night, then maybe they'd find something on him. And yeah, but he's probably got a car waiting for him a couple of streets over.
He may have. It's not clear yet, but he may have known that something was. He wouldn't have known till it was basically. He wouldn't know until it was too late.
But it was instantaneous. He
Yeah,
lost consciousness instantly. He lost consciousness instantly.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Isom doesn't know. Even a proper medical doctor wouldn't know. I mean, he was moving and making noises. Nobody knows if he lost consciousness. And even the way he said it was like, oh, absolutely. Not very convincing. But what's he going to say? No, he felt everything for the full 15 hours that he was on life support.
he probably did.
I shouldn't laugh at that. I'm sorry. It's just trying to poke humor at a horrible, morbid situation that shouldn't have happened. And I'm not trying to disrespect what happened to Professor Markel at all. We want to see justice for Professor Markel. And we will, because Georgia Kappelman is all over this, man. She's got her bread buttered. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't feel it.
He. I don't believe he suffered.
Okay.
Now she's trying to convince herself.
You don't have to go back to the house if you don't feel like it.
Oh, I want to.
Oh, okay. Let me be.
Absolutely, she wants to. She loves him. I mean, she really loves him. I don't know if it's like as a sister or romantically, but she is never going to be the same. You know, but I think she's doing really well. I had a little look of her you know, her resume. Basically, she's gone on and picked it up and continued to achieve things in her life. So that's good for her. Let's send out a big hug to Tamara. But not tomorrow, today.
Right, I'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, he's just heard the pizza has arrived and he needs a slice.
Oh God.
Good boy.
Look at mentor lawyer with his dog. What do you think? Should I throw in some dog videos, guys? I have a chocolate Labrador. Her name is Soap. She's 7 years old and she's sleeping right now. Say hello, Soap.
Where is the ice? Where's the ice? You're chewing the ice, you ate the ice. Smart guy. Smart guy.
I kind of like how mentor lawyer ends his videos with an innocent creature. You know, after all that somber, morbid, macabre content we just went through, it's kind of nice to just watch a dog to, you know, kind of bring you back to a place of peace, you know, after that. I don't know if I'm going to do that. That's like, what do you call it? Plagiarism. I'm already using his content. Now I steal his runouts as well. Is that what you call it? Runouts? Is that an industry term? Well, we did episodes 2, 3, 4, and 5, but I don't think he's got episode 1, and I don't think he's got episode 6. Let me just check his channel. Or is he going to say anything? Let's give him a minute. Ooh.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
This is how to get in shape in 7 minutes a day.
All right, that was all right. What are we looking at here? Let's do some comments. Snarky. Okay. Is that a good thing? What does that mean? Let me look that up. Critical or mocking in an indirect or sarcastic way. Yeah, that's pretty much how I do things. I'm like the Alan Rickman of true crime. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, metrics. What else we got here? Let's see. She was skiing out west. Yeah, Utah. Yeah, it was Utah, wasn't it? Hey, thanks, Muse. Nice comments. Makes up for all that diatribe we had to bear witness to from obsessive alcoholics. You still on, obsessive, or you crawled back into your bottle? You got to get to a meeting, man. Yeah, 100% a troll. And he's feeding off your reactions. I would block him. Okay, yeah, I will do. But that's the first one I've encountered, so it was kind of interesting just to play. I guess he just wants attention, he or she. I'm guessing it's a guy from the way he talks. He's letting my side down. And she did not give back his family heirloom, the Holocaust diamond. Evil woman. What, does she still have it? Oh, I bet that was sold. Huh? I wonder what she bought with it. And all the other money she's gotten out of this. Can you, like, if we just did an account of all the money that Wendi Adelson has got out of this murder, it would be it is a lot of money, way into six figures, possibly seven by now. Yeah, definitely. I'd probably close. Yeah, I'd say seven figures she's had out of this. Okay, let's just double check if Mentor Lawyer has an episode 6, but I don't know if he's just numbered them wrong or what. But we might be closing it off here, guys. Oh, wrong way. But thank you, guys. You've been great. We're just gonna double check. Oh, there she is. Yeah, we're gonna do a little June and Umchinda series soon. She's very good value for money. Her testimony in the Charlie trial was fantastic. Late, lost, speaking too loud into the microphone, and then her phone goes off. And Georgia Kaufman, and then she says, "So when is Memorial Day? Is that in May?" And Georgia Kaufman's like creasing a smile, going, "Yeah." I knew that, and I'm not even American. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Of the Tamara, what's her name? Tamara Demko footage. All right, guys, it's 10 to 3 in the morning here. I'm wide awake as usual because I have to have some coffee for these things. Snarky is a very good thing. Thank you, Rabbit. You are gorgeous. You're fantastic. We love having you on the show. T-shirts. Yes, I'll get on the designs for tomorrow. Probably not going to do a live stream tomorrow, but definitely back on Sunday. And I think we're going to get back to Jeffrey Lacasse, try and keep a little bit of continuity here. I kind of like mixing it up a bit, but I still, for me, it's nice to kind of do them in groups. So, because they run on into each other, if you know what I mean, and we can compare testimony with testimony, and that's going to be great. So yeah, I think I'll work on some T-shirts tomorrow, set up that store, that shop, and we'll be back on Sunday. So keep an eye on your feed, guys. Subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, and yeah, wishing you all a very happy Saturday. Even you, obsessive alcoholics. I think he's fallen asleep. in a puddle of his own sick. Okay, so that's something I gotta learn. We gotta just ignore these trolls, huh? Okay. Well, that was a new experience. So apparently I'm gay. I'm 22 years old, from New Zealand, and what else was it? I don't know. Oh, one more comment before we go from Rabbit. Wendi probably had the Holocaust diamond reset into a tiara, and she's wearing out on the town in Miami. I can see it. Yeah. God, that is sick, isn't it? I'm gonna try and find out some information about this Holocaust diamond, whether his grandmother was actually in, you know, a concentration camp or something. That would be crazy. Okay, I am gonna try and get some sleep, well rested, and make some t-shirts tomorrow. Kosher style, everybody. It's in the mail. And if you see Roberta Glass, tell her to get on over here to our show. Maybe she can pick up some good ideas. Okay, good night all. Love to you. Bye.